All right, welcome back to Man Now Sports. Let's recap Game 7, OKC Thunder, Denver Nuggets. Last year's MVP versus probably this year's MVP, SGA, going up against Nikola Jokic and the Thunder. I would say they probably was a little battered, being that Aaron Gordon wasn't 100% and Michael Porter Jr. wasn't 100% either. So shout out to Aaron Gordon for trying to give it a go tonight. Of course, he was going to try to do that. Jamal Murray had something going on right before Game 6. He gave it a go, performed pretty well. And of course, Michael Porter Jr. has been battling it pretty much the whole series. I think he got hurt in the Clipper series with his shoulder. So they were beat up, but that happens. Minnesota beat a team without Steph Curry, so that happens. It is what it is. Injuries happen. We've seen a whole bunch of playoff teams get all the way to the finals and beat teams that wasn't 100%. We've seen Kawhi and Toronto beat a battered Warriors team without KD. We've seen the Warriors beat LeBron in Cleveland without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. So we've seen things like that in the past. It is what it is. Injury is part of the game. And sometimes when your horses can't survive the playoffs, it's you get one to maybe 2 days off between games sometimes. So it's really a gauntlet. It's really like a battle. Playoffs is supposed to be like the final test. It's a different season. That's why they call it the regular season and then the postseason. So it's two different seasons. Where it's actually 3 seasons in the in the conventional NBA: preseason, regular season, and postseason. So it's 2 different seasons. They're not supposed to be identical in the same. They don't ref the games the same in the postseason. They allow a little bit more physicality because like this is for all the marbles, and the refs are rather not be part of the city. Well, it's supposed to be that the refs are not part of the decision making on who decide or who wins the ball game. But it seemed like the refs, they they changed the way they call the game in the series. Man, it's different from game to game, and that's annoying. But we know that that's part of the business. Like if one team is outmatching the other team, it's probably gonna be a 4-0 or 4-1 sweep. And that's just not good for business all the time. I mean, you got these networks that's paying so much money for these games. And if I was a network that paid a lot of money for games, especially playoff games, and I get like a marquee matchup and it goes 5 games, I'm like, dang, like 3 more games is a whole lot more money coming back to the network, by way of, advertisers, and all these things, and for the owners as well, like, um, I get at least 1 or 2 more games in my arena, so I get to make money that way. So it's all the business is going into it, and they're trying to keep basketball pure as possible, while at the same time grabbing as much money as possible, business wise. It's a juggle. It's a game that they're playing with it. So we know the officiating, will flip flop in a series depending on which team they want to favor for which game. And I wish that wasn't true, but it is. It just is. So when your favorite team look like they're getting shafted, they probably are. Um, I need to check on Scap. Scap will be all right, man. It's just basketball. He'll be fine. But a lot of truths got to come out about what we've been watching and what we've been seeing. Yeah, definitely fall in, man. Hit that like button as you join. Throw a comment in the comment section to let me know who in here. I see I got one moderator in here. As the other mods come in, make sure you drop a like and drop a comment so I know you in here. And then also hit that share button because we got a full show tonight, and I'm opening phone lines up. We should have a decent conversation about some of this stuff. All right, so what do I start with? Jamaica. Sylvester Allen, you in Jamaica? Oh, shout out to Jamaica. Shout out to Jamaica. What do we start? I guess we can start from the game. 23 turnovers. Right? 23 turnovers for the Nuggets. That was big. One of the adjustments, and they was doing this most of the series. where they would, if Jokic want to be at the top of the key with the ball, being an offensive hub for his team and making plays for his team, and he's really good around that top of the key area for his three ball. That's the big deal with him being at the top of the key when he's got a conventional big guarding him. He has two threats. One, he's a huge body, and he has shooters around him, so the floor is spaced, right? So when he has the ball at the top of the key and it's a big man in front of him, he's skilled enough to get one or two dribbles into the paint, and he got a runner just as good as Tony Parker, like just as good as a guard. Like his runner in the paint is good. He don't have to get all the way to the rim, which is what I like. I like players who can score in that mid range, and he definitely got that runner. So when he got a big on him, he's always a threat to drive by them. And if they're faster than him and they can beat him to the spot on the drive, he still got the two options of filling the contact and knocking his head back to make it look like you're fouling him. So that's a threat. They could pick up the foul, or they get the contact. He keeps going, and since he's such a huge body, he can still get to his spot and do something in the mid range. So that's a threat when the big is guarding him. So what they would do would try to back off him a little bit, and then the 3-point shot from there is a threat as well. So bigs are kind of afraid to get too close to him, so they end up giving him that three sometime, and then sometimes he gets in the paint, and sometimes they even run a screen and roll for him, which is crazy. Like it'll be a 5-1 screen and roll. Like Murray might come and screen the big man, and Jokic you get by and get in the paint. So I think that was dope. So what they did to kind of change that is, if you want to play like a guard, because we're going to keep a big on you because you're almost 7 foot, but you got to think, if he's playing like a guard and he's at the top of the key and he's operating in perimeter, I get to take away some of those options if I put a guard on you that's strong enough and defensive minded enough to kind of slow down some of the things you're trying to do. So I take away that threat of your three, even though you can shoot over me because I'm smaller, I'm going to be crowding your space. And that's probably not going to be a high percentage shot for you. So someone like Caruso being on him at that top of the key can crowd him and then be fast enough to beat him to the spot if he try to put the ball on the floor and drive. And then also being the fact that he's lower center of gravity than Jokic, when he put that ball on the floor, he's putting in harm's way against a steal thief like Caruso, right? So putting a smaller guy on him was kind of a huge adjustment. And it's not one of those adjustments you could be like, oh, dog, man, they beat us with this adjustment. Let's go back to the drawing board and come back for the next game with some type of counter. This was an adjustment that came and hit him in the mouth in game 7, and you don't get an opportunity to make an adjustment to it unless you can make an in-game adjustment, which they couldn't. And even if they did, the game was already out of control, right? So Caruso was huge on the defensive end. Even with Caruso on him and he went down to the post, Caruso was getting steals on entry passes in the post. Jokic tried to drive up, pull up three. He got a steal. He got a steal on that. Clean steal as well. Very clean steal. I mean, it was a total blowout. I think. I mean, it's. I mean, they tried to keep him in the game. I mean, Nikola Jokic had 11 free throws, but he only took 9 shots. He only took 9 field goals. He got to the line 11 times. So early, and most of this was early on. It was, they had that 10, 11-point lead in the first quarter. They ended the first quarter with a 5-point lead, but a lot of that was free throws. Like it was 12 free throws in the first quarter to OKC maybe 3. So the free throws was really keeping them in the game. And then OKC wasn't knocking their shots down. Their A game wasn't noticeable, but the free throws kept them in. But once they got that under control, and it was like fouls piling up in the first quarter. SGA had 2, Caruso had 2, Holmgren had 2, Hartenstein had 2, and maybe there was one more, and Dort had 2. All those guys had 2 fouls early in the second quarter. right? Only person who didn't have a foul or two was Jalen Williams, the co-star. But on the other side, there was hardly no fouls for Denver Nuggets. So the fouling was an issue. Going to the free throw line was helping Denver. But once they got under control, OKC just ran away with it, right? And forced them to turn the ball over 3 times. That was huge. I also want to point out something that is big time for OKC and SGA. Look at this, points per game. This is for the playoffs, though. They're top 3 in points per game. So they were scoring the ball well. Top 3 in rebounds. They was rebounding the ball as well, playing with a lineup of Hartenstein and Chet that was able to control the boards. You see Denver right there, number 2. Jokic was all over. Jokic and Aaron Gordon was all over the glass, right? So they've been very good on the rebounds as well. So, but OKC top 3 in points, top 3 in rebounds, top 3 in assists, which I don't see Denver in that top 5. So having a guy average a triple double and get double-digit assists isn't the best formula for your team to be amongst the best in assists, especially not in the playoffs. OKC top 3 in points, rebounds, and assists. OKC top 4 in blocks, Hartenstein and Holmgren once again. OKC number 1 in steals per game. That was getting 11 steals a game. That's and 6 blocks. That is insane. That is insane. And that field goal percentage, they shot it decent enough to where their offense could be something that they can rely on, of course, as well as their defense. So 45% from the field. What they didn't do extremely well was shoot a high percentage of free throws and 3-pointers. Which when your team is playing great defense, you don't always need to shoot lights out from 3, right? I showed this graphic on Friday night. This is the 1996 finals, which was the Bulls versus Sean Kemp, Peyton Manning. I'm not Peyton Manning, but Gary Payton and the Supersonics. And as you can see, a guy that they rely on for 3-pointers when he's in the game was shooting horrible. That's mainly because Gary Payton, Hershey Hawkins, I can't remember the other ball guy. It might have been Askew that came out the bit, but they had 3 or 4 really, really good wing defenders in the starting lineup and in the coming off the bench. And I remember they led the league in steals. Even that year, Hershey Hawkins and Gary Payton both are good defenders. But even before Hershey Hawkins was there, they had Kendall Gill, who was also a steal thief and a good defender, right? Really good athlete, right? So they put a lot of pressure on you, especially Gary Payton. He was the glove, right? So, Steve Kerr, he probably got caught up in their glove, or whoever else was guarding him. They weren't giving him no open 3. So he was 3 for 20. This is through game 5. This graphic came up during game 6 of the finals, and they were showing what the supporting cast for Michael Jordan was giving them. 3 for 20 for your best 3-point shooter. And he was only giving you 5 points a game with 20 minutes. Scottie Pippen, your co-star. This would be equivalent to Jalen Williams or Jamal Murray in this series for Jokic and SGA. This is your co-star. Only 15 points a game, 6 for 33 behind the arc, and shooting 32% from the field. And then your starting point guard, Ron Harper, 0 points in game 3, 2 points in game 4, 0 points in game 5. This is what Michael Jordan was working with, and they won this series in 6. This is why defense is important, team defense, and your best player also being a great defender is important, and also your best player being a scoring just assassin, because the guy who's supposed to be the best player on the floor should be the one that can go get a basket at any time, right? He should be a threat to score at all times, right? And your co-stars are not the one we're paying all the money to. They're not the ones winning the MVPs. They're not the ones getting the title of best player in the world. They're none of that. So we should not be relying on them to just be shooting lights out all the time. That's the reason why they aren't considered the best. The best player is the one we should be relying on. And I don't think in a game 7 that your best player should be shooting only 9 field goals in a closeout game 7. I just don't think that's a great formula for success where my best player is trying to find the role players and rely on them to score points, because this is what role players do right here. Role players go cold, but the expectation is for your best player not to go cold like this. But in the event he does, when it's not supposed to be often, like it's not supposed to be 3 straight games like Ron Harper did, or 3 for 20 for whatever shots that you normally get, like Steve Kerr, 6 for 32 like Scottie Pippen, and 32% shooting. That's not supposed to be your best player and best scorer. But if ever so happened that one game he's off, that's the game that I expect the role players to be able to pick up. But under normal circumstances, I'm not relying on my role players to be hot for an entire series. I'm relying on my best player and the best player in the world, quote unquote, to be the one that's hot more often than not. Right? That makes sense, right? So I mean, Jokic shooting 9 shots from the field. I have no clue who is recommending it. Who's saying that this is okay? If LeBron James was in a closeout game 7 and only took 9 shots, the talk of the entire ESPN, FS1, like everybody would go off. I mean, of course, the LeBron apologists like Shannon Sharp and Nick Wright would have an excuse why, and they would blame his teammates, right? But I mean, for people like us, we would hold him accountable and say, that's not going to cut it. You can't shoot 9 times in a closeout game 7 in a playoff. You can't do that. 9 shots. Why? Because you wanted the assist? I don't understand why you only shot 9 shots. It's a closeout game. But I don't hear nobody holding Jokic feet to the fire. All I hear is them giving excuses and finger pointing his teammates and making them the target of what's not going right. Like I really think that's unfair. Like, how is it his teammates' fault? His teammates did what they're supposed to do. They played a support role. You can't rely on your role players to be your top guys. I think Christian Brown shot more shots than Jokic tonight. Right? So if you want to point a finger, you have to point the finger first at the top. Right? And look, I had a video go premiere earlier, probably about four hours ago, and I'm looking in the comment section, and somebody said that Jokic was the coach in the playoffs. He was his team's coach. Give him a break. Well, I mean, if he was the coach, then he should be getting 2 fingers pointed at him, because the top leaders and what happens on the basketball team is the coach and the best player, right? And if you want to go third, yeah, the co-star, especially if the co-star is the point guard, because that's supposed to be an extension of a coach. But if Jokic was the coach, then he should get blamed for getting out-coached. No adjustments made when Caruso was on him. And then as the best player, he get blamed again. Why am I skipping the coach and the best player and going straight to a co-star and role players to blame them? I just showed you how you can win in 6. If your best player go out there and shoot lights out. Look, if we can control the defense, we don't need everybody to be hot. But the way they play in the NBA now, the way they play basketball, everyone has to be like, at least 3 people have to be hot for you to win, because ain't nobody relying on defense no more. No one's saying we're going to lock you down, shut you down defensively, and then my best player is better than your best player, so we're going to score some buckets as well. You got to come double him. And if you don't double him, he's scoring. That's how it's supposed to be. Defense is supposed to be 50% of the game, so it should be just as important as offense. But they're saying, nah, defense is, yeah. My best player don't really have to play it that often, but his role players better play defense, and then his role players better also shoot lights out, just like he's shooting lights out. It just don't make sense to me. My best player is supposed to be my finisher. I'm not looking for my best player to set up a player that's lesser than him to be the finisher. Make that make sense. Jokic, you're going to be the person that's setting everyone up, but you're the best player, and no one can stop you on the basketball court, and you can score anytime you want to. But your job is to make sure that you pass the ball so somebody else can finish. That's not how it's supposed to be done. That's not how it's supposed to be done. Let's listen to some sounds from the post game.
Joker, I know it just happened. You're still processing, but what are some of your early takeaways from this game and this series as a whole for you guys?
I mean, this game was basically similar to second game. We turned the ball over. We didn't make enough shots. They were aggressive. They were running. In transition. They were attacking us back. They were playing on our heels. They were attacking the offensive glass. They were making shots. The two same officials as the second game. So it's kind of similar to the second game.
He said he started explaining what OKC was doing good, and then at the end he said it's similar to the game 2. It was the same officials from game 2, Scott Foster and whoever else was there. So he said it's similar outcome. So he's trying to say that the difference of the game was who officiated it. Oh, it was the same officials from game 2 when they got blowed out and gave up 149 points. He's saying the same officials for game 2, so it was a similar game in this game 7 because it was the same officials. That's a freaking cop-out. That's a freaking cop-out. And I hate it. But you can't blame having, like, this dude had 55 turnovers in the playoffs. He's led the entire playoffs in turnovers. Like, led the entire playoffs in turnovers. Led the entire playoffs in turnovers. 55 turnovers. Right? But all you're going to hear them talk about on TV is that he led the playoffs in scoring, rebounding, and assists. Right? But common sense will tell you he played a game 7 in the first round and a game 7 in the second round. So that means he played 14 games. If you contrast that with a team like OKC, who played 4 games in the first round and 7 games in the second round, that's 11 games. So they've played 3 more games than OKC. And if your team averages 100 points a game, that's 300 extra points just sitting there for your best player to go and grab. How is it possible that anyone can outscore Jokic and when he's played 14 games and everybody else is playing no more than 11, maybe 12? And maybe New York went to a game 7 this series, and I can't even remember who they played in the first round. So New York, Brunson might be the next person that could be up there with Jokic because his team has played about 12, maybe 13 games, but still no one has played more games than Jokic. So of course you're going to be leading in everything. But if you're going to ignore the fact that he played that many games, then you can't ignore how many turnovers he has as well. No one's even close to him in turnovers. And he's a center, right? Nobody's even close to him. That's number one. Number two is if you're going to brag about Jokic being leader in all these statistic categories in the playoffs, then what are you going to say about Jamal Murray being number 3? So we can't say Jamal Murray didn't show up in the playoffs because we're bragging about Jokic being number 1 in points. Jamal Murray is number 3. So let that sink in. Shout out to Zoe, man, down short clips. Jokic is in that system. Surprised he don't have more. Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So Karen Mitchell said that's dead. No position basketball that this era pushes. Yeah, it's just crazy. So more Jokic.
Nicole, do you leave this series feeling like you guys are still close to being able to win another championship, or what are your thoughts after 2 Game 7s? And I know you dealt with health issues, not you, but Aaron and Michael. Do you feel like this team could still win a championship as it's put together now?
I mean, we didn't, so obviously we can't. If we could, we will win it. So I don't believe in those if stuff. So we had the opportunity, we didn't win it. So I think we can't.
So the question is, can we win? Can this same core win again? Which is a question a lot of people ask, especially when you have a core of players who won before and can't get back to the promised land. Like what they won in 23. And then who won it in 24? I guess Boston. How long has it been since they won? Did they win in 20? I don't know when they won. They won in 21. Warriors won in 22. Who won in 23? I can't remember. Maybe Warriors won in 22 and OKC won in 23. I don't know. The bubble was Lakers. 21 was Milwaukee. 22 was Warriors. 23 was Jokic, I think. Yeah. So they won in 23. So last year they didn't make it back. This year they didn't make it back. So the question is, can this core win again? And he said, well, I mean, we didn't. So the answer is no. Right? We didn't win. So no, we can't. Simple enough, right? I like the answer. I don't like the delusion that I'm hearing from Draymond and Steve Kerr and Steph Curry that we've been hearing since 2022. Yeah, we can get back. We just like at first they said that we can't win. We're not a contender without Draymond because it was Draymond's contract year. We're not a contender without Draymond. So they tricked the owners into giving Draymond more money and then giving him another extension. And then they couldn't get back to the finals. They couldn't get. I mean, they couldn't do it, right? Then they said, oh, the reason why we couldn't do it is because the locker room was jacked up. And now that we got rid of Poole and we got the locker room back, Draymond can go back to leading. Because Draymond said I couldn't lead the way I wanted to lead because I punched old boy, and I was just trying to lay low and be quiet, so I couldn't lead. But now that problem don't exist no more. They got rid of Poole, brought Chris Paul in, and they still couldn't get it done. Then what was the excuse after that? Then they started the season up. Look like they go miss the playoffs. Then they got a stimulus package trade for Jimmy Butler. Then they go out there and look like they about to make some noise, and they come out here and nope. T. Wolves got too many horses. And then your only horse goes down, and then this Jimmy Butler that you said that we needed couldn't do nothing and got outplayed by freaking Kuminga, who you was hiding on the bench. Like, this is insane. And Draymond couldn't help with any of that. Steph go down, Draymond is obsolete. And so was Jimmy Butler, right? So I like the answer of Jokic just saying, obviously not. I mean, we couldn't get it done, so obviously we can't win with this core. Cool answer, right? But I still don't like the excuse making for Jokic and the finger pointing to his teammates. Nobody's pointing anything to Jokic. Nobody's talking about the turnovers he's had. Nobody's talking about the 2 horrible games he had in games 4 and 5, and then to come into a daggone game 7 and only shoot 9 times with another 5 turnovers. He had an 8 turnover game. So I'm like, yeah, nobody's pointing the finger at that, but they go point the finger at the players that's supposed to be the lesser players. That's not how it's supposed to go. If you think about before this era of basketball, LeBron, Curry, Jokic, these guys, right? If you go before that, when like Dominque Wilkins said that Kobe Bryant was the last of their kind. So if you go to Kobe Bryant, you don't hear Kobe Bryant failing and then they blaming Ron Artest, Lamar Odom, Pau Gasol, Bynum, Trevor Ariza, Steve Blake. Like you don't hear them get blamed. It was always Kobe. Even when he didn't have a real co-star that was legit, and he was rocking it out with Smush Parker and Walton and Kwame Brown, right? When that was his supporting cast, even then when they lost, it's Kobe's fault, right? When you go to when MJ came back wearing number 45 and they lost to Orlando, obviously MJ was rusty and didn't look 100%. It was his fault. I don't remember nobody on that team getting blamed, not Pippen, nobody. The only time I remember someone on the Bulls getting blamed for underachieving was when Scottie Pippen couldn't play in a crucial game 6 or 7 because of the migraine. People blamed him for that, but then Michael Jordan came out and said we lost that. That wasn't on Scottie Pippen. He took up for his co-star. He said, we lost that game. That had nothing to do with Scottie Pippen. We lost as a team. We weren't ready. We lost as a team. That's what leadership's supposed to do. Right? There's another clip of Michael Jordan saying he never wanted Scottie Pippen to ever feel that blame or that target on his back. He always wanted to take that from him. Right? That was his job as the best player. You always take it. You always take the blame. Even if it ain't on you, it's always your fault. And if you hear in the media saying it's not and blaming your co-stars and your role players, you need to come out and speak up and say, no, that's on me. Because you're the person, the reason why you're so much better than everybody, because you have the mental toughness that most people don't have. And you're born with it. You're born with it. So if you have that, if you have what Jordan had and what Kobe had, you got that, you don't let it fall on a player that's lesser and also weaker mentally. Scottie Pippen is not as mentally tough as Michael Jordan. Right? In order to be a good co-star, he had to learn and get tougher, but he's still not as tough as Michael Jordan. So why would you let your co-star carry that burden and let that burden fall on him? You never let somebody blame your role players and your co-star. You always take it upon yourself. It's always your fault when y'all lose. You're the best player because we're going to praise you if y'all win. So you can't have it both ways where when y'all win, it's all on you because you average a triple-double. But when y'all lose, oh, it's on them. It ain't on me because I average a triple-double. No, you can't do that. Right? So I don't like the finger pointing. I don't like the fact that Jokic don't get any type of critique on this and any type of blame. He played horrible 3 games in this series. His turnovers was too high. He couldn't solve the puzzle of what they was doing defensively to him. It reminds me of when Golden State won in 2022 and Draymond Green was guarding Jokic without a double most times and he was roughing them up and it worked. That should have never happened, right? And ultimately, this best player in the world title has got to get passed on. The same way you earn it is the same way you lose it. So what did Jokic do to earn the best player in the world title? Was it the triple doubles? Was it the fact he won in 2023? So, I mean, you tell me, was it stats or was it the fact he won? Because I remember it's been a trend. It's been a trend. Ever since, let's say, ever since KD got finals MVP 2 years in a row with Golden State, people started talking about, is he the best player in the world, right? Then he left Golden State and, things kind of dropped off for him. And Kawhi had just beat Golden State when he got hurt and people was like, man, Kawhi went to Toronto and just won that easy. Is Kawhi the best player in the world? People were still saying it was LeBron and stuff like that, but it was always like conversation, Kawhi, LeBron. And then guess what happened? Jokic, not Jokic, but Giannis, he was winning his MVPs, defensive player of the years, and then, they get to the finals and win. And then when he won the finals, everybody said that he's the best player in the world. And he was the best player in the world for about 2-3 years. And then next thing you know, Jokic win MVP. And everybody's talking about how great his triple doubles is as a center and all this stuff. But no one was really saying he was best player in the world until he won it against Miami. When he won it against Miami, oh, Jokic is the best player in the world, and he's been the best player in the world for the last 3 years, just like Giannis. So it looks like when you get MVPs and then you get to the finals and finally win one, all of a sudden you get anointed as the best player in the world. But why ain't nobody saying Giannis is the best player in the world anymore? Because his team isn't making it to the finals no more. Right? So if we're going to give him the title of best player in the world because he got to the finals and won, and because he won an MVP, well, guess what? He's not winning MVP this year. And his team ain't the best. And he's not getting to the finals either. SGA is winning MVP. His team is the best, and he's got a really good chance to get to the finals this year. 4 more games, not 4 more games, but 4 more wins, and he's in the finals. Then he's going against a team out of the East, whether it's the Knicks or Indiana. I like his chances against them. So if he gets MVP this year, beats Jokic in a head-to-head matchup in the second round convincingly, get to the Western Conference Finals, win Western Conference Finals MVP. He had the best record in the season. He got the scoring title, and then he go to the finals and win it, and then get Finals MVP. Let's guess: Finals MVP, a Finals win, a Finals trophy, Finals MVP, Western Conference MVP, MVP of the regular season, scoring title, best record in the league. And oh, by the way, he's a lockdown defender. If he's doing all that, how is it that we can say that somebody else is the best player in the league? I think it's obvious it's SGA. It's obvious it's SGA, right? That's my opinion. I'm interested if somebody else got a different opinion. But not a lot of finger pointing and name blaming going on to his teammates. Right. So here's OKC post game.
Shea asked you after game 6 kind of how you thought Dub would respond tonight. How do you think he played?
Terrible. Nah, he was amazing. Dub was a big reason for our little stretch of the lead in the second quarter. Gave us momentum. But I said this out there after the game, his growth as a basketball player has been obviously you've seen it all year, but his growth mentally has been more impressive to me. He wouldn't have played the way he played today last year, and I know that 100%. And to see him take that step forward is it's a really proud moment for me. Just knowing what he goes through on a day-to-day basis, knowing where he comes from, that's really my brother. And to see him get better in those areas is special. It's fun, and it makes this whole experience a little bit more special. But yeah, Dub. Other than that, Dub's a great basketball player, and he brought his A game when we needed the most, and that's what makes you the top of upper echelon of this league, and the sky's the limit for Dub, as we all know.
Hope you guys can comment on just the.
I like that comment. I like him giving his co-star props. I like him building his co-star up, building his confidence up. This is another thing I say, and before I address this comment on the screen. So Draymond Green, he's smart in a way that I'm about to explain, right? So Draymond Green, when Golden State has a rival, especially in the West Coast, when they have a team that they're battling, he has a certain way of putting doubt in that team, and if they're weak mentally, it'll work. I remember when the Memphis Grizzlies, led by Ja Morant, with Dylan Brooks there performing well, with JJJ there performing well, Jaren Jackson Jr. When what's the guard that shoots that's built like a boxer? I forgot his name. But and I think Steven Adams was there as well. I they had a really good team, a good defensive team. When you got Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson Jr., who I think just recently won Defensive Player of the Year last year, I think. If not, he was always in the running. And Steven Adams, we know what he is. He's a big force down low, right? He rebounds. So they got defense. And then we know Dylan Brooks is a good defender, right? And then who can also score, right? And then you got John Morant as a superstar, right? And then you had a shooter as shooting guard, and his name is Desmond Bain. Thank you. Somebody just said Desmond Bain. So Desmond Bain, great starting five. All they had to do was keep that team intact and add to it, right? They was on their way. And I remember Dylan Brooks used to, like, first of all, in the regular season, every time they played Memphis got the best of them. I don't know who won I know Memphis won the series for the regular season. I don't know how many times they played, but I remember the last time they played and they beat Golden State, and Dylan Brooks was yapping because you know he yaps, right? Was yapping. And Draymond Green said something. He said something that stuck out a lot, and he went off on him. I don't know if it was in the post game or on his podcast, but he said that Memphis got something growing over there, but they ain't gonna win with that clown on their team. And he said he's over there yapping. I got 3 rings at the time, I think, because I think that was the year they won it. I got three rings, and I know what winning looks like and how it starts. And he said, what Memphis got to realize is that their dynasty doesn't start with Dylan Brooks. It starts after Dylan Brooks. So he said something along that nature. It was a bar, right? So you plant that little seed of doubt, right? And then in the playoffs, when I think they was playing the Lakers or something like that, Dylan Brooks ran his mouth again and called LeBron old, and the Lakers ended up putting him out. So what happened when that happened? He ran his mouth. LeBron came out and had a crazy game, and they out of the playoffs. And then you remember back to before the playoffs started when Draymond Green said Dylan Brooks is holding them back, and their dynasty run starts after Dylan Brooks, not with Dylan Brooks. When he said that. And you start thinking, like, everybody was mad, like, why would you wake up a beast? Why would you say that about LeBron? Why you get them bulletin board material? So that was hot. And guess what happened? We're not going to re-sign you, Dylan Brooks. And that's how he ended up in Houston. What has happened with Memphis since that? Right? So he also tried the same thing with the Thunder last year. Right? He got on his podcast and said, man, I like Shea and I like the Thunder. They're a cool little team. Up and coming team. The same thing he said about Memphis. They're a cooler team, but that little post game that y'all do with y'all team all together, that's goofy. And when we see that, we look at y'all as weak. He said that, and he was like, y'all got to stop that nonsense. If y'all want to be serious about winning, y'all got to stop that. That's what he said, right? If they were weak-minded, if SGA was weak-minded, if the front office in OKC was weak-minded, that would have bothered them, because what ended up happening, they lost to Dallas in the second round last year. Guess what they came back and was continuing to do? We're still doing our post game as a team together. And you cannot be intimidated by us, but hey, it don't matter. We're going to do our thing, right? I'm not going to change what I do, right? So they came back and kept doing the same thing, and it didn't drive a wedge between their squad. So it didn't work. But Draymond Green always does that. He always does that. As for this comment on the screen, SGA has the best team in the league, historically speaking. SRS, they are better than the 96 Bulls in advanced metrics. Why though? The key question is, why are they the best team in the league? They're not the best team in the league because they went out and signed these world beaters. They didn't go sign a bunch of all-stars. They didn't go sign a bunch of superstars. They didn't go sign a bunch of proven commodities. They didn't go and get D-Wade, Bosh, Ray Allen, Mike Miller, Rashard Lewis. They didn't get that. They went and added Hartenstein and Caruso to what they had last year. They drafted the Isaiah Joe. They drafted the Cason Wallace, who you didn't like. These guys, you wouldn't even know their name. No one remember Jalen Williams. Neither Jalen Williams from college. The only person we knew is Chet Holmgren and SGA. SGA went to Kentucky, hid amongst a whole lot of talent because Calipari always get a lot of talent in Kentucky. You didn't even know SGA was that good in Kentucky. We didn't know Jamal Murray was that good at Kentucky. We didn't know Devin Booker was that good at Kentucky, right? But we knew their names because they was in Kentucky. Chet Holmgren was a unicorn, 7-footer that was shooting threes and moving like a big guard, and we put us in the mind of Durant. So Chet Holmgren, we've been knowing him since high school. He goes to Gonzaga, and we thought he was gonna be like a bucket, but he really was a shot blocker. Right? So you got SGA, you got Holmgren. They get drafted. Those are unproven commodities. Jalen Williams, unproven commodity. The other Jalen Williams, unproven commodity. Hartenstein, he was a journeyman that bounced from team to team, got with New York Knicks and played really good defense on Joel Embiid, but not well enough for the Knicks to pay him. So he walked in free agency, and the OKC Thunder picked him up. The Nuggets could have got him. The Bulls, I don't know if the Bulls traded Caruso or let him go. But let's go grab Caruso. So when your team is when you have a team, well, first of all, when your team leader is concentrating on being a dominant scorer and playing defense, right? And he don't need the floor wide open for him to get buckets. He don't need 4 shooters on the floor. You can run a real offense. You got a big man. You got 2 big men. You got Holmgren and Hartenstein, a conventional 90s style offense or in defense. 2 big men, a small forward, and 2 guards. Just as conventional as possible. And when you got a really good team or a really good team leader, right? You don't need offense all over the place. You don't need world beaters. You don't need all these all-stars. You can go grab a guy who's a defensive specialist like Hartenstein, a defensive specialist like Lou Dort, a defensive specialist like Wiggins. But Wiggins can shoot the 3 too. Like all these dudes, a defensive specialist like Caruso. Like you can go get all defense and then say, hey man, just be able to hit open shot. But when you run the offense that they run in Denver, oh my God, you need 25 points from Jamal Murray. You need 18 points from Michael Porter Jr. You need another 18 from Aaron Gordon. And then all 3 of them need to be able to catch and shoot threes off a Jokic pass. And then all of them also need to be these world beater defenders because they have to defend for Jokic. Jokic's defense was so bad, they had to play zone to hide him in the defense. I want you to think about any of the top 10 superstars of all time. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem, Kobe, Shaq. I just want you to, Hakeem, just Tim Duncan, Garnett, just think about who played for a team and his defense was so bad that they had to play zone to hide him. Name the superstar. Name the superstar who team has to play zone to hide him on defense. Name the top 10 player or the superstar who needs 25 from their co-star and 18 from their 3rd and 4th best player. Name the superstar who everyone on the floor has to be a shooter. The issues that are with Denver Nuggets are because the flaws that Jokic has as the best player. All their defensive issues start with Jokic, and all of their offensive issues start with Jokic. You're asking all 4 players to play off Jokic and be ready to catch and shoot, and then you wonder why they're inconsistent. I heard somebody say Jamal Murray was inconsistent, Michael Porter Jr. was inconsistent, Bron was inconsistent, Westbrook was inconsistent, and so was Aaron Gordon. I'm like, at some point, you gotta understand. If you got 6 dudes that are inconsistent, it's not all 6 dudes. It's got to be the offense. It's got to be the system you're running. And I just want you to think about this. They're not Ray Allen, Kyle Korver. They're regular basketball players who are good at certain things. Aaron Gordon is a great slasher. He's good down low in the post. He can jump. He's an athlete. He can drive to the hole and get buckets. He can do things. But they're asking him to catch alley-oops, offensive rebound, and hit open threes. That's what they're asking him to do on a consistent basis. They're asking Michael Porter Jr. to only catch and shoot threes. They're asking Jamal Murray to catch and shoot threes. And then when Jokic need the help, run high screen and roll. And off the high screen and roll, you're still getting step back threes off of it. Right? But see he's a co-star. He's got to get them 25 a game. You're asking who so that's Jamal, that's Aaron Gordon, they all just got to catch and shoot threes. And then what's the most? I mean, I just showed you the graphic of Steve Kerr. I mean, these dudes, they're not better 3-point shooters than Steve Kerr. And he's giving you a 3 for 20 in the finals. I've never heard nobody say Steve Kerr was inconsistent, or Scottie Pippen or Ron Harper. Nobody get those titles as inconsistent because nobody can get to that part because their best player is putting points on the board and playing defense and getting the win. The blame should never get down to these role players that call them inconsistent. That's why they're role players. They're supposed to be inconsistent. Role players are supposed to be inconsistent. My best player is not. But guess who was inconsistent in this playoffs? Jokic was. Christian Brown was more consistent than Jokic this playoffs. And so was Aaron Gordon until he pulled his hammy. And he hit 2 or 3 game winners. I mean, this is unreal. The type of blame y'all trying to give role players. It's unreal. Let's open the phone lines up. Y'all not gonna let Jokic off the hook, man. I'm gonna hear somebody be honest tonight. Man. Y'all ain't gonna let him off the hook. This is his time to come to the carpet. And that play style has got to be abandoned. You've got to abandon that play style. It's not gonna work. I mean, any play style that you need, you dang gonna need 3 all-stars to help that play style work. And then you need help from the referees. When you don't get help from the referees, you're getting beat by 40. Too much finger pointing, man. So yeah, the best player in the league is SGA. He's also the MVP. All right, winning matters, defense matters. We're gonna stop acting like defense ain't part of basketball. Let me see if caller from San Francisco. What's good?
Yeah, Jokic, he is not even that good. I don't even see why he's even in the conversation. Why and how did he get in the conversation?
Triple doubles.
Yes, but that doesn't put you in the conversation. You gotta,
Oh no, I know that.
Real.
I know that, but the fans don't know that. Like we've created new fans around the NBA who really, and it's bad because even the media think triple doubles really mean something.
Right, I agree with you on that, and they do. I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm also asking you this: when you're watching these guys nowadays, and you saying these guys are playing basketball, what team is that? When you watch the game,
Hold on, say it again now.
When you watch the game and you say, now this team right here is playing basketball in this day and age, when you see them playing basketball, what team you say that is?
OKC this year and last year, and Boston last year, not Boston this year. Boston last year, OKC last year, and this year they're playing basketball for real. Both ends of the floor, not relying too much on threes, utilizing the post in the mid range, doing everything right. So that's how I like to see it. I would say Minnesota as well, but I think Anthony Edwards shoot a little bit too many threes, but not as bad as Boston did.
Would you say a good team has to do with a name or the team?
A good team has to do what now?
Well, I was asking you, would you say a good team has to do with the name of, like the name of the paper? People. I don't like this name. people, but the team. The team is the main thing.
I mean, it definitely has to be the team is the main thing, but in order to make it a great team, you got to have a great team leader, right? So, all the superstars, Jokic, Luka, Kyrie, Curry, SGA, Tatum, Edwards, they all have potential to lead great teams because they're great players. But the team has to play in a system that is also great. And SGA has a great system. The OKC Thunder have a great system, which is on both ends of the floor, and it's a team oriented system where not one person is making plays for everyone. And Jokic in Denver has a very flawed system, right? And that's and so did Boston this year with shooting so many threes. So that's the issue with Denver is their system.
And this is why I asked you this question. You were going on the people that sit on the bench. You know, you're not supposed to rely on these role players. I kind of little disagree with that a little bit. To me, I believe that you're supposed to rely on the team, period. I don't care. The center, to me, the center's supposed to get 25. The forward, the small forward, 25. Everybody, to me, is supposed to get 25. That's doing their part to me.
25 what, minutes?
No, points.
That's not possible.
I mean, wait a minute though. Back in the day, a little bit.
Yeah, but no, that's everybody's not going to get the same amount of shots though.
I know that, but I'm just saying, in my mind,
it's always one player who works the hardest, who has the most talent, that is going to be authorized to take the most shots, right? So if everything's going well, then he's the one that is relied upon to get 25 to 30 points in huge games, right? I'm not relying on certain guys to give me 25. I'm not game planning to get my role player 25. I'm making sure that my guy get his shots because he's the one who is working the most. Sure. Yeah. So when I said you don't rely on your role players, what I meant is your best player can't be the one taking 9 shots and setting up the role players to take 12 to 15 shots or 20 shots. Like that's not supposed to happen in a closeout game.
I just want to be like, too, role player to me is just as accountable as the star too. I don't give a fuck that the star is supposed to do this. The role players also got a job to do, and they supposed to be just as a player. To me, I don't really got to like role players. But the blame and the praise start at the top and then rolls downhill. So before I blame a role player, I better be sure I blame that head coach and that star player first. You can't skip. You can't skip the star player and start blaming the role player. That's not how it works. Because no one skips the star player and praise the role player. No one does that. You know what I mean? So I'm not skipping the star player and then just blaming role players when I'm a minimal guy. I get paid the minimum. This dude getting paid $50 million a year. How the hell are you blaming me? Right. And with that money, I'm glad you brought up the money. What do you think about that? If a guy gets a certain amount of money, is it his responsibility to step up to the money, or are we doing too much giving them the money?
No, people get money for different reasons. Like Denver won a championship, and in that championship, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and Jokic all played significant roles, right? So as an agent, when you go and negotiate their contracts, there's no one that's going to ask for less money for their star because look what I just did for you, right? Obviously, I can help you get it done. So what the owner is trying to do is say, well, these guys are still young, and we just want to ring with them. So if I pay them to keep them here, we can make another run at it, right? The worst thing for them to do is to not be able to come to a deal with Michael Porter Jr. and then he walks to another team, and now you're not in contention anymore. You broke up the core. You broke up the core that won it. So they're trying to pay those guys to keep them together, right? So the agents did good work to do that. Now on the back end, people are saying, well, if Michael Porter Jr. ain't giving me 20 points a game, then he's not worth the money. Right. That's not how it works. Michael Porter Jr. was never supposed to be relied upon. He just did good business to get paid what he was supposed to get paid.
The market was the market.
Correct. So you can't just because you kept the core together, but you can't afford to go get another all-star. Don't get mad, because I didn't hear nobody get mad when he got the money. They was fresh off a championship. They thought, hey, we got a core. We kept Michael Porter Jr., we kept Aaron, we kept Jamal, we got Jokic, we good. But they weren't good, and now they're making excuses.
And I've been noticing lately, these new guys are putting where do you hold this Finals MVP? This has been a super all of a sudden. I guess it's better than a championship nowadays.
What, Finals MVP?
Yeah.
What do I hold it at?
Yeah. Where do you hold the Finals MVP at?
If I was making face cards for accomplishments, winning the ring would be the big joker.
Right.
Winning the Olympic gold medal would be the little joker. Winning the league MVP for the season would probably be the deuce if you play deuces high. And winning the finals MVP would probably be the ace.
Okay, so all right, so this is my point. Why do you think that Ori doesn't get the credit for winning as much? Just because you guys don't feel that he was important?
Do you think Ori is as good as Hakeem or Michael Jordan?
To me, I just wanted to put it the way I would do it. I don't.
No.
care.
No. That's a question. That's a question. Do you?
Okay.
If I was hold on.
I would take
Hold on.
Okay.
If I ask you to give me the top 25 players that you've ever seen play, would Robert Horry make the cut?
Ooh, on the top 25, dog, because that's a lot of people, though. That's not even fair. You know, that's not fair. Come on.
I'm asking. Okay. I expand it because I'm gonna tell you why this is easy. The NBA already did this, so let's take the top 75. If I was Robert Horry in the top 75?
I'm not sure. I don't.
No,
think so.
the answer is no. The answer is no. Want to know why? Because he's not one of the top 75 players that we ever seen play. Nor was he the team leader on any of those championship teams. Not one of them.
I get that, but
I don't think you get it though. I don't think you get it though. So he won 2 with the Rockets. Hakeem Olajuwon was the best player on the first ring. The second best player may have been Maxwell. Vernon Maxwell. The third,
so being the best player is the thing though.
It has to be. If you're a manager of a store and your store, hold on. If you're a manager, of course it is the best player and the co-star. That's as far as it go. As far as credit, like if you're a role player,
what on the team?
Huh?
So if you was on the basketball team and you wasn't the co-star or the star, you are null and void. No,
not null and void. What I'm saying is, if you're talking about who the greatest players are and you want to use winning a ring as an accolade, you're not going to do a ring count and then all of a sudden say Robert Horry is in the conversation with Jordan and Hakeem because he was able to jump from team to team and play with Shaq, Hakeem, Kobe, Drexler. Like what kind of sense? Tim Duncan, David Wright. What kind of sense? Hold on. What kind of sense does that make? Where if I just ended up on the right team, like Steve Kerr, I think he got 3 with the Bulls and 2 with San Antonio, so he's got 5. Are we now saying that he's one of the best point guards we ever seen play? Come on, man, this don't even make sense.
No, so that's what I'm saying.
All right, so a ring count. No, a ring count don't change my mind on how good you are. How good you are is how good you are, and or it's not in the conversation. So his rings don't even get counted in a who's the greatest of all time. But if I'm saying the best players I ever seen play is Michael Jordan and Kobe, and then I start saying, well, which one would you rank higher? Then you start counting their rings. But Horry's never in that conversation of the best we've ever seen play, so we're never going to count his rings for that reason.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not even asking about who the best that ever play. I'm talking about winning.
What about it?
What do you mean? What about it? That's my argument. He's won.
Yeah. So what?
That's my point.
You said it to say what?
That but you said that what's more important?
No.
that you
I'm saying you say that to
be
say
the
what
best.
though? You say that to say what? Robert Ory got 7 rings. That's a fact. Now, what does that mean?
Why has he not ever been brought up in any discussions?
And what discussion?
And he's more of a winner than the guys that you talk
And
about.
what discussion?
That you like.
And what?
That's more important.
And what discussion?
And winning championships.
I've never had a discussion of winning championships. What discussion are you talking about? This discussion
Why
of winning
don't you have
championship?
a winning championship discussion though. Why is that?
We've never.
That's
For
fine.
what? Why would we have? That's easy.
Why wouldn't you have a championship discussion in the game that they played to win the championship?
Dude, what are you talking about? So you want to have a conversation of winning championships?
Never have a discussion
about because it's not a discussion. It's only you only counting rings at that point. So you count all the.
You act like that's a disease or bad or something. What's wrong with counting rings? That's what you're supposed to do, right?
It's pointless.
Or not?
It's no. It's
counting
pointless.
the rings is pointless.
For what? For what purpose though? Why are we counting the rings? To say what?
To prove who's winning rings. That's the purpose.
But it's not a discussion though. It's obvious.
I get it. Okay.
Right. You go to the Boston Celtics and you count all the rings that they won. And then you go to Ori, and then you go to whoever else and Steve Kerr. Like, why the hell would I be talking about them? They're not like, they don't even make sense, dude. What are you talking about?
So you don't talk about them because of what? For what reason?
Because they're not that good. Dude, what are you not getting?
You don't talk about them because they're good.
No, they're not that good. They're not as good as the people we had discussions about.
So Ori's not good.
He's not as good. He's not as good as Kobe, Jordan, Hakeem, Duncan, Shaq.
But that's not the discussion, though. If he's better than those guys, he's won more than those guys.
All right. Okay. So what does that mean? Okay. He won 7.
All right.
So let's have a conversation. Robert Ory had 7 rings. Kobe had 5. What does that mean?
Right.
What does that mean?
That Robbie Ory got 7 rings and Kobe's got 5. That's what that means.
In the discussion. You see how easy that was?
Thank you.
All right. In the discussion. Like, dude, what are you talking about?
That's right.
We needed a discussion for that. All right, man.
No, I was wondering why that is not that easy. I mean, usually you guys don't even get to that point like that. Yeah, like how we got to it tonight.
Because I told you it's point. I told you it's points, bro. You on that new dust, and I hate that I stayed this long on the phone, man. But thank you. I bid you a good night.
Good night.
Yeah. Sure. Caller from Texas was good, man.
You know, daggone, I told you. Do not. What I tell you? Huh? What I tell you?
Yo, who was that, man?
Do not negotiate with terrorists.
Yo, who was that, dog? Who was that, man? For real?
Man, somebody need to call over San Francisco and find somebody's child is out underneath the street light,
bruh,
waiting to get picked up for school.
He was on that new dust, man. That is that new dust for real.
Hey, you here's the thing. You gotta take responsibility for your part in that. You know, you were trying. It was literally you were trying to have a logical conversation with somebody whose brain is broke. Right? This dude is clearly disabled. Okay, the dude was clearly disabled. He trying to talk about have a discussion when all you gotta do is count. Why are we gonna have a conversation?
Yeah, you just got counting. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
We got. You said Bill Russell got 11.
Yeah.
Okay. Sam Jones got like what, 9?
Something like that. Yeah.
And same thing with Casey Jones. Right?
Yep.
So what are we talking about?
Yeah. I mean, what?
Have a check.
What's the purpose?
Talking about?
Well, what is the purpose? What point are you trying to make?
Why are we having a conversation about math?
No.
Right. And not hard math. Just counting. All we gotta do is count.
Come on, dog.
Right. I'm disappointed in you, Mel. You should stop this, man.
Hey.
You exposing the community to this stuff, man. It's like a virus you almost let loose.
Yo, I was
this dude.
I was like,
what you trying to do?
Yeah.
But the point, like he was trying to have a point about something that was not have. There's no point to have.
No.
How you gonna have? Why don't you have a conversation about Robert Ory? That right there should have been your thing, man. You should be like, okay, all right. This dude is on, like you said, he on that new dust.
Yeah, he was on something.
He on that new. He doing something. He got him howling at the moon.
Yeah,
and he somehow butt dialed man down because that was crazy.
It was. What you got on this OKC, and either speak on Jokic or SGA, either one.
Well, for me, like you were saying, the thing about SGA, I don't really want to talk about Jokic because anybody who only plays half of the game and is straight ass on defense, I really ain't got much in the way of like we don't need to talk about that. But with
right.
SGA, like with him, and like you said, because you hit with this dude you were just talking about. Boston messed up when they went away from what Udoka got them doing. See, Udoka was the guy having them playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
If you really go back and look at it, Udoka was the one who had them playing basketball.
Yep.
Right. And then they I don't know, smelling themselves or whatever, but they want to start shooting these threes. And I agree with you totally when it comes to Anthony Edwards. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He, for some reason, will sit back and fall off on taking the three instead of being aggressive and attacking the basket.
Yeah.
And when that's the thing that drives me crazy about OKC is they'll get to where they're starting to play, but then they'll fall off and they'll fall into these lulls of getting away from what got them there.
Yeah. But what I like about OKC is when they fall into something like that, they always autocorrect. Sometimes they autocorrect in game, like when they went down against Memphis by like 30 and came back and won. Sometimes
I agree, but see, game one, game one was what? Playing with your food.
They played
Same
with
thing,
it.
game 6.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Game 6, they let it, and that was the thing. I'm like, hold on, bro. Look.
If they would have lost tonight,
their
game one would have been. I mean, they would have been thinking about that all summer. Of course, they'd be thinking about game 7 too. But game 1 and game 6, those are
the two games.
Yeah,
those are the two games that they, like you said, where they normally autocorrect or get because again, you can't play around with them. Denver ain't. I mean, they are not a joke. When they get those pieces moving, they are dangerous.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, and this is the thing you really got to look at. Porter was injured, and
so was Gordon.
Exactly, and Gordon too. Gordon had the hamstring. But I'm talking about for the whole series. Porter was, that left shoulder. But the point I'm making is, you can't play with you. Like you can't afford in this day and age. You can't play with your food. No. But the idea of this dude up here talking about participation, all 5 players getting 25 points. Can you count? That's 125 points if you do that, right? I mean, you don't. the bench. Okay. Anybody who's watched this game long enough knows that the bench gets shortened in the playoffs.
Correct.
You got your starters, and then you go down maybe 9. Yeah, maybe that in your rotation. If you're getting blown out, or you blowing somebody else, that's when you start getting people off, getting some people some time.
Yep.
But don't sit here and try to talk about, oh well, you're in now, so go out there and get you 25 points. It's your turn. Go get you only gonna get 2 minutes, but go get your 25 points. And I got a gold star you can put on the refrigerator later.
Yeah.
I'm blaming you, Mel. I'm sorry. You gotta take some responsibility.
I'll take the L. I'll take the L. Yeah.
All right, brother, man.
All right, thanks,
man.
Have
a good one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here's my question, y'all, because I keep hearing that Jokic need help. Jokic don't have enough. He never played with an all-star and all that stuff. And that's true. Nobody has ever made all-star that he played with why he played with him. I think that's more of a symptom than it is an excuse. I think that the fact that people can't make it, like good people that they have on their team, like they have talent. Jamal Murray is a talent. Gordon is a talent. MPJ is a talent. They are lottery players. They're talents. the fact that the offense that they play in or the system that they play in caps them off to where they can't get to an all-star. Like OKC drafted Jalen Williams, and I think he's in his third year, maybe fourth, and he's like they turned him into an all-star, kind of like how the Bulls drafted Scottie Pippen and turned him into an all-star. Now, mind you, Scottie Pippen was like a late draft pick. I'm not sure what Jalen Williams got drafted at, but I don't think he's a lottery player. All right, but so you are able to turn those guys into all-stars. What's going on in OKC and what's going on with the leadership in OKC and the system in OKC, where they developed a player that they drafted into an all-star, but Denver can't develop Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, or Michael Porter Jr. into an all-star. What's going on in Denver where you can't develop all-stars, where only one person gets credit for what's good going on in Denver and everyone else gets blamed? Only one person can make all-star. Only one person look good. Only one person look like a superstar. What's going on is, so if you want an all-star to play with Jokic, create one that you drafted. Or if you want to make a trade to get someone who already made all-star, I guarantee you when he comes and play with Denver, he won't make all-star that year if they're playing that same system. So here's my question. If it's an all-star you want, what position do you want the all-star to be? Do you want to replace Jamal Murray with someone who's an all-star? Let's do the math. Let's see who made all-star this year. 2025 NBA All-Stars. Right? Let's see who made all-star this year. And just the Jokic fans, right? Just the Jokic fans. All right. So if you want to replace Jamal Murray for an all-star, if you think Jamal Murray can't get it done, if Jamal Murray is the issue and you want a point guard, you want an all-star, there you go. Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Steph Curry, Jalen Brunson, Darius Garland, Cade Cunningham, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Trae Young. Those are your point guards. Nuggets fans, which one y'all want? Put it in the comment section. Who do you want? And tell me how you're going to get them. Come on, Jokic fans, please. As a matter of fact, phone line. Let me open the phone lines back up. I need to get a Denver fan or a Jokic fan on the line. We're going to create Jokic's team, and we're going to figure out how can we get him the lineup that he needs so his team can compete again. Right? Y'all said he don't have any all-stars, so we're going to get rid of the fat, and we're going to get y'all an all-star. Right? Starting at point guard. Please, Jokic fans, call the number. Please. Let's do this. Let's get it done. No, really a Jokic fan. Not really a Jokic fan, but I would take all of them over Murray. Okay. So Trae Young. Let's start with Trae Young. All right. Trae Young and Atlanta, they're not doing what they, what they expected to do and stuff like that. So let's Trae Young it, right? Trae Young is an all-star. He done made all-star 2 or 3 times. So do the trade. Heads up. Jamal Murray for Trae Young. Is that good? So now y'all got an all-star. Can y'all contend? Right? Now that you've traded Jamal Murray for Trae Young, can you contend? Trae Young is an all-star. Jokic fans, once you trade Trae Young for Jamal Murray, can y'all contend and get back to the finals? Can y'all contend and get back to the finals with Trae Young for Jamal Murray? Where's the answers at? You only have Murray in first rounds to give up. We're in make-believe world, Phil. We're in make-believe world. The Atlanta Hawks are going to accept Jamal Murray heads up for Trae Young. They want to get rid of him that bad. Y'all got Trae Young now in Denver. What happens? Lineup of Trae Young, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Christian Brown, are y'all contenders now? Now Jokic got his one all-star that y'all said he needed. He got his one all-star, but we got to talk about some things. Trae Young is a true point guard who averages more assists than Jokic. Here's my question, Jokic fans and Denver fans. Now that you got your all-star and it's Trae Young, what offense are y'all running? Is the true point guard Trae Young, who averaged more assists than Jokic and less turnovers than Jokic, is he running the offense like he did in Atlanta? Or are we still making Jokic be the hub for the offense and the point center while Trae Young catch and shoot threes just like Jamal Murray was doing? Because what we're going to find out is the issue is not the pieces around Jokic. The issue is how you're using them and the system that only serves Jokic. So now that Trae Young is there, we got a decision. Who's the point guard? Who's the one getting all the assists? Is it the guy who's led the league in assists, Trae Young, who's an all-star and the true point guard? Or is it Jokic? Because last time I checked, the Jokic fans told me that the only reason why Jokic is the hub for the offense and runs point center is because nobody else can run the point. Now you got a true point guard who's also an all-star player and also a true point guard and a assist leader. Better passer than Jokic. What are you doing? I don't see no comments from the Jokic fans in here. What are we doing now? What's the offense? What offense are we running? Because the offense they run in Atlanta, Trae Young is getting almost 12 assists in and about 24 points. 24 and 12. And he's an all-star. What are we doing? Because one thing's for sure, he's not making an all-star just by being a catch and shoot three-point shooter. He's making an all-star because he's getting 12 assists. Is he still going to get 12 assists in Denver, or are we still prioritizing Jokic? Why ain't nobody calling the phone? Come on now. Don't y'all all hit the line at once. Let me get this comment off screen. Get that number up there. Let's talk about it. Jokic fans, Denver, let's talk about it. Sabrina Kelly said that Denver always need the Jokic to be the point ball handler because he's not going to play the post. He's out of shape and he can't jump over a shoebox. That's true. K Soprano said, "You know why, Mel? Tell me, K's, why? I don't know. I watched OKC All Star is made themselves. I don't know what that means. OKC has Jokic number. OKC has the solution. All right, I guess we'll move on to the next topic. I can't get no answers. I'm trying to help Denver out. You know, I'm trying to help Denver out. You know, a head up trade for Jamal Murray, for Trae Young. But maybe y'all want to keep Jamal Murray because I keep hearing that Michael Porter Jr. is the odd man out that they want to get rid of. Right. So let's go get y'all a small forward. Jaylen Brown for Michael Porter Jr. Y'all want to do that? He's a small forward. He's really a shooting guard, but I guess he can play small forward with y'all. Oh, here we go. Caller from Chicago. Caller from Chicago, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you feel, man?
I'm good, man. Hey, let's build a all-star roster around Jokic, man. Are you a Jokic fan? Are you a Denver fan?
Let me be honest, man. I'm a basketball fan.
Okay.
This narrative they putting around Jokic. Now, first of all, Murray's a good player to me, in my opinion.
My opinion as well.
Now, it's hard to make the All-Star on the West because they have so many good two guards.
Yeah, but when you playing with the world's best player and he makes everybody better, I'm trying to figure out why ain't nobody make no All-Star if he making them better.
Well, who says he's the best?
A lot of people
player in the world.
I don't say that, but a lot of people do.
Because what downgraded Jokic to me. Now, they played the Lakers that one game during the season. He let Ultramara dominate him on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this game 7, you let little bitty itty, what's my man name came from the Bulls?
Caruso.
Caruso frustrate you.
Correct.
Because them guys were frustrated the whole game. But Jokic is supposed to be one of the best top centers ever.
Supposed to be.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Well, I would love to see Caruso guard Hakeem. I would love to see
That'd be worse. That'd be worse than what he did to David Robinson.
Oh, bro. Hakeem punished David Robinson and Shaq. Ain't no chance for Caruso.
No, not at all.
Ain't no
not
chance.
at all.
And he wouldn't need no whistle or no free throws. He just go destroy them.
But hey, Mel, but did you see how they waited to give out the MVP to Shea? Because usually around this time they would have named the MVP.
It's definitely late in my opinion. I thought it should. I mean, they announced all the last award was announced, and I think the last award might have been was it Coach of the Year or Defensive Player of the Year? It was one of them, but that was like 2 weeks. That was in round 1.
Right.
Yeah, so we went the whole second round without the MVP being announced. I thought that was interesting. And I know the votes are already in. I don't think it's nobody waiting to see what happened in this series to cast the vote. So I'm trying to figure out why they waited. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it makes you think.
Yeah, man.
Makes you think.
Yeah. Yeah. I got somebody calling in from Phoenix, Arizona. I think this might be a Jokic fan. Let me take this call.
Uh-oh. All right, bro.
All right. Caller from Arizona.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you good, man. Hey, so now that we got Trae Young and he's an all-star, does this make Denver a contender again?
No.
It doesn't. Why not?
Trae Young, I mean, the Denver, their problem is not offense.
Okay.
Their issue is their bench. OKC is a much deeper team.
Correct.
And that's really the difference. In
but how come Jokic fans are saying that their problem is that he don't have an all-star and he never played with an all-star? I'm just trying to get him an all-star.
I mean,
so we don't have that excuse next year. Now that he gets an all-star, I want to know what the excuse would be next year if he gets an all-star.
I mean, there's a saying in boxing by the late great Roger Mayweather. Most people don't know shit about boxing. Well, that can be put in basketball as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know what they talk about. What they need is a defensive wing and more depth on the bench. The pieces are there. Starting 5 is solid.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue the starting 5 really outplayed OKC most of the series. The bench was the difference. That's what I look at it.
Hey, Sammy K.
You agree with that?
Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna get to that. Sammy K on screen. Call in after this. I want to hear what you sound like a Jokic fan. I want to hear what it make everything all right for Denver. Do I agree that the starting 5 for Denver outplayed OKC starting 5?
Think about it. Even when Jokic would have bad games, they would keep it close. Because Jamal was
all right, so let's say that's true. What did they do that outplay them? Because do you think it was the free throws, or do you think it was defense or offense? What was it?
Well, I just think that that's in the starting 5. They're more reliable scoring as far as the
see outplaying. So look, I showed a graphic earlier. We like this new era of basketball has tricked us to think the only way you can help your team is by scoring.
Well, of course not. That's not the only way.
My best player should be able to handle that scoring load if we're playing lockdown defense. I shouldn't have to explode for points, and my role players also explode for points for us to win. So if Michael Jordan can win in 6 with Scottie Pippen averaging 15 points shooting 32% from the field and shooting 6 of 33 from 3. And you know he was probably 69% from the free throw line because Scottie Pippen used to go cold on the line.
Right.
If my co-star can do that for Michael Jordan and they win in 6, that tells you that Jordan was doing his part scoring, and then the whole team was doing their part defending. That's all you're supposed to need. Like Michael Jordan is the blueprint.
That's a different era. It's more talent. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but these are different teams.
Then how come
NBA
OKC got it? How come OKC got it done with defense, and so did Boston last year?
Okay, but let's not act like J-Dub didn't show up in this game in Game 7. So like his entourage showed up.
Yeah, but he showed up this game. He didn't show up in Game 6, and there was 2 other games he didn't show up. My point. My point is you don't need everyone exploding for points to win a series.
No, but you just said that he didn't show up in Game 6. What happened in Game 6? They lost.
That was a winnable game.
It was, but they lost. And part of the reason they lost is because J-Dub was terrible.
It wasn't just J-Dub. The whole team was terrible, and the defense wasn't there.
But J-Dub is supposed to be your second best guy.
Who cares? The defense wasn't there. The defense was there tonight.
That's another thing. Denver don't really play defense like that.
And bingo, there's your issue. The defense and your best player that you rely on for points took 9 shots. If it wasn't for the 11 free throws he shot, I think he was 9 for 11. He ended up with 20 points. If it wasn't for those 9 points, Jokic would have ended the game with 11 points for the game. But I'm gonna take this call, man. Thanks for the call. I'm gonna take this. This is Jokic fan calling in.
Okay.
Caller from Jersey. Shut YouTube off in the background. Tell me what tell me what Denver needs to be a contender again.
Oh man, I'm sorry, but you know what, man? I was looking at this show, right, and this guy has put on there about LeBron saying something about Michael Jordan getting too much hype, getting too much credit for the Bulls' success.
I'm sorry, yeah, you watching a pre-recorded show from a couple of days ago. Yeah, I'm live talking about Denver right now. Nah, thank you for the call.
Oh, I'm a veteran, man. I just woke up and I saw it. It shook me, man, to see a superstar of his nature to make a comment, such a petty comment like that, man. It just really turned me off on him as a person. The arrogance of this guy, man.
I got you. Hey, look, sir.
I'll call back at another time.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you for your service. Who are?
Yeah, all right, brother.
All right. I don't think I got no brave Denver Nuggets apologists or Jokic fans. So I think we're gonna move on to preview the conference finals. Let's see some comments coming in here. Jokic plays both sides of the floor. Not all defensive team, but it's okay. Well, okay is not good enough for your best player on defense. Defense is 50% of the game, and it's just as important as offense. Right. So yeah, that's not good. Right. It's okay. No, that's not good. That's your best player. He sets the tone on both ends of the floor. Okay is not good enough. Right. He got to do something better than that. Why are we making good reasons why it's okay to be okay on defense? And like that's he's okay. Like that's something to brag about. Okay is not good. Okay is the same thing as being on time. We learned in the military on time means late. Early is on time. So okay on defense means bad on defense. Excellent on defense means excellent. Excellent means good. So no, don't tell me you're okay on defense. Why are you just okay on defense? Don't tell me you're okay on conditioning. Why are you just okay on conditioning? That's part of the game, a very important part of the game. You can't be okay on that and be the best player that get paid the most money and get all the MVPs. That makes no sense. If I'm the best player and they got a scheme of defense to protect me from getting cooked, that's why he seems okay to some of y'all, because they're scheming a defense. How exhausting is that for the other 4 guys on the floor where you got like Aaron Gordon, for example. He has to guard the best player every night, no matter the position. He has to guard the best player and also rotate to be a rim protector because Jokic can't. And then, oh, by the way, I got to watch the guy that's about to cook Jokic because we all got to be on the string to help Jokic not get blew by. And if he do get blown by, we got to be at the rim to protect. So I got a responsibility of a dude that can drop 30. That's my responsibility. And oh, by the way, I got to babysit this big fat beluga whale because he can't freaking get in shape and jump over a phone book. That shit is trash, man. For your best player, never before in my life seen nothing like that. The best player in the world needs help from the entire team defensively. They got a scheme of a whole freaking zone for him. And that's okay with y'all. That's the problem, man, with the NBA. And that's the issue. And that's why people like that are scared to call in. Unbelievable. All right, Western Conference Final, man. So it's set, right? And the first thing I thought about, right, is this is the closest matchup that we will see to a Michael Jordan versus Kobe. If y'all going on YouTube or Twitter or X, whatever they want to call it, man, they got some videos out there. You know the videos they used to make to show how similar Kobe was to Michael Jordan, and they'll show a Michael Jordan post shimmy fadeaway, and then they'll show the same post shimmy fadeaway with Kobe doing it, and it looks so identical. Looks so identical, right? Well, they got the same thing going for Anthony Edwards and Michael Jordan, and they got the same thing for SGA and Kobe. And what I noticed about Anthony Edwards and his highlights, most of the highlights they were showing that was similar to Michael Jordan was based on the uber athleticism, right? So some of the things that they do in the air and going to the hole and dunking was very similar with Michael Jordan and Edwards. And a little bit of the finesse things, the mid-range, the post phase and stuff like that. So Kobe is all of Michael Jordan's technical skills and mentality, defense. Like Kobe got all of that with Jordan, but he don't have all the athleticism that Jordan has. It's the opposite for Ant Edwards. He has a lot of Jordan's athleticism, but very few of his technical skills, right? But he's progressing in that way. His mid-range game is getting better. His little jump shot is getting better. His dribble pull-up, his post phase is getting better. He's only 23, so I expect by the time he's 25, 26 years old for him to be closer to looking like MJ, right? All right. So for SGA though, he has a lot of Kobe's technical skills. So his post phase and the way he drives by people, he don't use just straight speed to drive by you. It's a lot of it's a lot of technical things he's doing. A lot of technique on how low he's getting to get by your waist and stuff like it's eerie similar. You got to look it up. His post phase, a lot of things, his dribble pull up, a lot of it looks like Kobe, but he don't have the athleticism of an MJ just like Kobe did, right? Not to that level. They're still both great athletes, but just not to an MJ level. So if you ever wanted to see a Michael Jordan versus Kobe, this series, man, the only thing I think SJ don't have of Kobe is the Mamba mentality. That's got to develop for him. He's got to develop that. I think it's there, but not to the level of Kobe, right? So if he ever develops that, or he ever brings it out, man, you gonna see a special player. And Edwards and SGA both having good teams that contend, play a good offense, a well-balanced offense with also defense, tough defense. They're both young, and they're both in the West. I'm telling you, this SGA and Anthony Edwards thing, this series is about to start a rivalry. I'm telling you, it's about to be crazy, right? So I'm excited for this series. My pick from the beginning of the playoffs was OKC versus Boston. Obviously, Boston is already out, so half of my pick is already done. So I'm still picking OKC, but this series could go either way. I don't think there's an agenda. We'll see though how they officiate the game. The agenda in the previous series we just talked about was the kind of handicap OKC a little bit to help the outmatched Denver Nuggets kind of survive a little bit. So I think Denver outright won one of those games hands down. I think OKC gave game one away, and I think the refs gave them a game about how they called the game. That was the game that they had 32 free throws and OKC had like 18 or something like that, right? Or probably less than that, right? So I think those three games was one OKC BSing in the fourth quarter. The refs gave Denver a game and Denver took a game. That's how they got those three games. But they tried everything they could to keep that series close. I don't know why, but they did. But I don't think they have an agenda in this series. So I think we're going to see the closest thing to pure basketball with an outcome that's not influenced, right? So this is going to be a joy to watch. It's always a joy to watch when there's no agenda to be pushed. It feels good not to have LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers in the playoffs because that's always an agenda. Teams can't get a fair shake against them most times. It's good not to have Steph Curry in the playoffs because they always have an agenda to help them out as well. It's good not to see Denver in anymore because there's an agenda there as well. So the four teams that are left it's pretty much the NBA taking a turn, turning the page on this previous era of basketball that have been going in a downward trajectory, right? Where they're turning the page from LeBron, they're turning the page from Curry, they're turning the page from triple-double basketball and rewarding it. They're giving the MVP to a person that's playing lockdown defense and leading a team to a number one defensive team, and he's also gotten the scorer title this year. So scoring and defending and winning is now being put back in the forefront, right? And what have I always told y'all about the MVP or any award? Offensive value, defensive value, team success. That's scoring, defending, and winning. Those are the three. That is the triple-double that I think about. Scoring, defending, and winning. Scoring, defending, and winning. That is what I look for. That is the trifecta. That is the triangulation. That is the triple threat that I look at. Scoring, defending, and winning, right? And if you look at it, SGA won the scoring title. He's leading the number one defensive team on top of him playing great defense as well. And his team is winning. That's going to equal MVP. So we're turning the page. Triple-double basketball and stats is not going to do it anymore. The NBA is getting back to the basics. They're getting back to defense and winning. They're valuing the right thing. And I think the NBA will do well by continuing down that path. So shout out to Joe Dumars for setting that straight with the NBA front office before he took the New Orleans job as the GM, right? So he was part of the I think he was vice president of the NBA along with Adam Silver, and I think he was the head of the competition committee too. So these are things that I think they've been talking about over the years. Coach K was a silent contributor or what a silent advisor to the NBA front office, according to Adam Silver. And he said that the meetings when they was trying to figure out how to fix the NBA, he said Coach K, and I quote, said, "Adam, the fans like defense too. So many people like myself with small platforms on YouTube, some people that former players that have podcasts, KG, Paul Pierce, people like that, they've been begging for the league to change, to let defense be allowed. They've been begging and begging and begging. Adam Silver didn't want to do it, but this year he finally woke up. I think last year did it when the All-Star game was so bad that President Obama had to call him out and said, nobody want to watch that. This is horrible. He told Tyrese Halliburton that in the interview, it's horrible. Nobody want to watch our All-Star game. And Adam Silver invited Larry Bird, because the All-Star game was in Indiana last year. And they invited Larry Bird in the locker room to talk to the team, to beg them to play with some heart. And they went out there and stunk it up. And I mean, I think between Tyrese Halliburton and Dame Lillard, I think they shot 23 pointers apiece. Logo shots. I mean, it was disgusting. They had Larry Legend come in there and talk to them. And a year later, it leaked out that after Larry walked out of the locker room, that LeBron James looked at everybody and rolled his eyes like, man, we ain't doing that shit. Disrespected Larry Legend like that and the freaking commissioner. He didn't even want to give the daggone MVP to the winning team. If you go and listen to that footage when he said, Giannis, well, your team won, so here you go. I mean, it's just sad the way he gave him the MVP. Y'all go back and listen to that. When he gave the MVP to Giannis, go back and listen to it. I did a video on it. Go listen to how Adam gave the MVP to Giannis. It was horrible. Right? But as far as the conference finals, man, it's gonna be good. Two defensive teams, two superstars who are going to be in the MVP running for years to come. And now we're turning the page from triple-double and stat patters and stat stuffers, and that's not important anymore. What's important is defense, scoring, and winning. The whole NBA landscape is going to look a whole lot different, especially with Scott Perry getting hired where he got hired and New Orleans hiring Joe Dumars. They both got the same mindset, and they're both old school. Watch how they have New Orleans, and I can't remember where Scott Perry went. Can't remember where Scott Perry went, but watch how they have both these teams playing, because they're the one who set in motion that we're going back to defense. And I did a video on that as well, because Joe Dumars got interviewed by BJ Armstrong. Go find that video on my channel. And he talked about what he did in the front office, and yeah, you can thank me for all this defense you're seeing in the playoffs. And he said, don't you love it? And they asked him, are you going to have New Orleans playing this brand of basketball? He was like, I love defense. There's no doubt that my team will be playing physical, tough defense, bad boy Piston style basketball. So should look out for that in New Orleans. The NBA is about to change, y'all. The NBA is about to change, and people like Luka and Jokic know that their time is coming. They might as well just team up together. $5 super chat from Randy Watson. This is like what WrestleMania 21 was for WWE. Rock, Stone Cold gone. No more depends on old stars. John Cena and Batista took over. That's SGA and Ant. You know what? You must be reading my notes, because speaking of WWE, let's get into the Eastern Conference Finals. Remember last year when Halliburton and Bronson was on WWE about to fight each other? Like it was some type of rivalry, and they kind of, spruced it up. That's the picture from it. Y'all can go look that up too. Well, the NBA finally got their matchup from the WWE rivals, right? So they're matching up against each other, which is another evenly matched series, right? They both got point guards that lead their team. Both these point guards are clutch. Both these point guards play hard nose, and they lead ball clubs that are playing the right way. I mean, of course, Tibbs is a whole defensive genius, and Rick Carlisle preaches defense as well, but Rick Carlisle runs a good offense. Rick Carlisle in Dallas was the coach that coached Dirk to a finals win over a stack Miami super team with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. And he took J Kidd in his old age, maybe 39, 38 he was, and wasn't an all-star anymore. He took him, he ran the offense, he played defense, he passed the ball. Dirk was the star. They had rim protection in Tyson Chandler. They had scores off the bench in Jason Terry. Barrera off the bench was balling. I think they had Karan, but like, I love that team. They played beautiful basketball. That's how I knew that the offense that was running with Luka when Rick Carlisle was there wasn't an offense that Rick Carlisle liked. I wasn't sure about it, right? But I do know a guy I went to high school with who trained and is now like the big homie uncle to Dennis Smith Jr., which Dallas drafted the year before they drafted Luka. So I got a little bit of insight from him on how Rick Carlisle was operating, and you know, so I could just take an educated guess, and I don't think Rick Carlisle really wanted to run the Luka centric, ball dominant, high screen world offense that Luka would have been running with Dallas for years, right? My opinion is that Mark Cuban loves analytics so much, and I think he has his own guys. But and the reason why I know this is because when they won the finals against the Heat, Mark Cuban went on Skip Bayless's show on ESPN because Skip Bayless had a lot to say that he took kind of took offense with. He wanted to go straighten up and basically tell Skip that he didn't know what he was talking about. And he was describing what they did defensively on LeBron, you know, in their zone and stuff like that. So he was kind of involved in the game planning, like, you know, and he uses math. And he did another interview with who did he do an interview with 2 years ago? I can't remember. But I watched it, and he talked. It was right after they got Kyrie Irving. It was in the offseason after they got Kyrie Irving, and he also talked about the scheme on offense, like he's part of the decision making on how to come up with all that stuff, right? Like, you know, I've never seen an owner, not even Michael Jordan, come down and talk about, you know, so loosely what they plan to do and all that stuff, like Mark Cuban. So like he's involved in it, and he's not a basketball guy. He's a math and analytics guy. So he used math to come up with what he think would work. So what they put together offensively for Luka gave him all the numbers in the world, made him first team all NBA 3 years in a row, made him a front runner for MVP 3-4 years in a row. He didn't get close to it because it's a bad formula to play. It's just good for stats. And it gave him his popularity. It made him sell jerseys. It gave him shoe deals, endorsements, which Mark Cuban all get a piece of it. So business wise, and I don't know if people knew that, but when you sell jerseys, the proceeds just don't go to the player. Like if you're a certain caliber player, you might have some type of deal where you get some of it, like LeBron. But for the most part, the team owner gets a piece of that. I mean, it's their jersey, it's their name on the front, right? So all them jerseys, he said, and Luka has been a top 3, top 4 jersey seller for 3-4 years. So it was a good business deal for Luka to be that popular and score that much points. So it wasn't just about winning. I mean, of course they wanted to win, but hey, Rick Carlisle, we want to win, but we want to win this way because this way brings me more money. You figure out how to win playing this way, but this is the offense I need you to run for Luka. I need Luka to be as popular as possible because it's giving me money. You figure out how to win that way. And he tried for a couple of years, and it got to the point where it was time for him to resign. They wanted to resign him, and Rick Carlisle was like, I'm done. He didn't resign and went straight to Indiana, traded for Halliburton, the point guard that runs offense the way he likes it to be run. And he got Halliburton, and look where they at now, Eastern Conference Final 2 years in a row. So this man left Luka in his prime to go to Indiana and coach Halliburton. Let that sink in. Carlisle ran from him. right? So that's a big telltale sign about what's going on over there in Dallas. Carlisle ran from him, and as soon as Mark Cuban wasn't making decisions anymore after he sold his majority stake in Dallas, and he wasn't the GM no more and the president no more, as soon as he was not making decisions, they got rid of Luka. That also tells you a lot. Jalen Brunson ran from Luka. He had an opportunity to re-sign with Dallas. Nope, I'm out. Went straight to New York, got the bag, turned into an all-star. He's in the conference finals. Porzingis ran from Luka. Went to Washington, played good, almost made all-star, left Washington, went to Boston. He won a championship last year. Think about this. Carlisle, conference finals, ran from Luka. Brunson, conference finals, all-star, ran from Luka. Porzingis, champion, ran from Luka. And Nico Harris ran from Luka, sent them to LA for AD. Yeah. But this series should be interesting. Can't wait for it. I'll probably get into more details on kind of going through what both teams do well and where both teams probably would be vulnerable at. And then I give you that before game one of each game. Somebody said I'm pushing nasty narratives. It's not a narrative, man. Did Rick Carlisle not turn down an extension to leave Dallas? Did Porzingis not turn down money to go to no, Porzingis asked for a trade. Porzingis might have got traded to Washington. As a matter of fact, I think he did. For did they get Gafford in return? They might have got Gafford in return, right? Brunson turned down money, went and got it in New York. You know what I mean? There was a article that came out that said someone close to Brunson said that the reason why he left Dallas is because he felt like he could do more, as a player, if he wasn't playing with Luka, which is true. He did do more, and we all knew he could do more because he did more when Luka was hurt for the first two games against Utah in the first round. He won both those games without Luka first round. Imagine that. And then Luka came back in the first game they lost, but Luka came back. But Brunson knew he could do more. I knew he could do more as well. But I mean, what can you do in the offense? Just like Denver, what can you do in the offense where this guy has the ball all the time and I just have to play off him? If I got some pat in my game, when can I get the pat? Only when Jokic say your turn, or only when Luka say your turn. And when he say your turn, it might be with 8 seconds on the shot clock. After he tried to get his and couldn't get it, now let's swing the ball. Your turn, Brunson. 8 seconds, make it happen. But he get daggone 16 seconds to make something happen. Right? I get 8 seconds. He gets 6 seconds and run that screen and roll probably twice. He'll run the screen and roll initially. If they switch and he can't get a mismatch that he won't and get the point or get downhill, now he come right back and run another high screen and roll to try to make that happen. If it don't happen, now I'm swinging it to Kyrie or Brunson with 8 seconds. Now you got to figure something out with no screen. You got to be such a great one-on-one player and such a great scorer that now it's your turn to go one-on-one with 8 seconds. Figure it out. And oh, by the way, you got to get me 25 points like that or we lose. And in the playoffs, you got to get me 30 points like that or we lose. And then as a token, when I go sit down fat and tired, I give you 5 or 6 minutes to run the offense where you can go and get your points. That's how you have to play with Jokic and Luka. Right? That's not good. And as far as Denver, it's all right, throw the ball to Jokic. Sometimes Jokic gets the rebound and brings the ball up like a point guard and run and dribbles right to the paint and then start backing you in from the post. And then that's it. You know what I mean? If a double come, he'll pass it and you better make that three. As a matter of fact, you better take that three. Because if he pass it to you when a double comes and you try to do something with the ball like dribble and get to the hole, Nah, you got to pull that 3 up. That's the offense. The offense is we score off of Jokic's pass, so he can get the assist. And they won't Aaron Gordon and MPJ to get you 18 points like that, and they won't Jamal Murray to get you 25 points like that. In order for it to work, you need 25, 18, and 18 from 3 other co-stars in order for that offense to work. That tells you the offense is flawed because all Jordan needed was 15 from Pippen. So no, it's not a narrative. All that is true. Carlisle left. Nico gave up on him. Kid gave up on him, but he ain't gonna admit it. Kid, Nico, the front office in Dallas, all gave up on Luka. Porzingis left. Carlisle left. Jalen Brunson left. It is what it is. All right, we're going to get to the last topic, and I'm going to open the phone lines up for this because we got what we call death of a dynasty going on right here. I call it Weekend at Curry's. Y'all remember that movie Weekend at Bernie's? The movie, it was this rich guy in Miami, and he used to throw big, huge parties at his Miami mansion on the beach. And I think he was involved in drugs too. I'm gonna watch that movie tonight. No, to be honest with you. But he was involved in some drugs, and somebody came and killed him right before the party, right? And it was 2 dudes that were showing up like early to go to the party, and they discovered the body. And they knew, man, this party, like, we really want this party to go on. This party gonna be over if people find out what's going on. So they carried Bernie around the entire party with shades on and a hat, and like pretend like he was alive, and like they would be waving his arm like this, speaking to everybody. You know what I mean? They were putting cigars in his mouth. They was doing all this stuff just to keep him alive, to make it seem like he was dead, so the party could go on. Right? That's what they was doing. That's exactly what Adam Silver in the front office in the NBA and the NBA media is doing. They're making sure that people like Curry and LeBron can stay alive. They are the dead. And I'm not saying them as people, but their career is done. They're dead. They should retire like tomorrow. Like, it's no point. There's no point. You're a corpse. You stink. Your career's done. You can't get it done no more. Right? Adam Silver can't keep helping you with these trades. They gave you Luka and Jimmy Butler to try to help you, and it didn't work. Now what they're going to do for you, right? So right now, I mean, Curry had a game where he was like 1 for 14 in the playoffs. He had 8 points, and, you know, he's got games like this. He can't survive a playoff. He's pulling his hammy. Since when Curry pulled hamstrings? You can't get it done no more, dog. And you keep trying to stick around for what? Retire. Michael Jordan retired. It was over. Like, I'm not about to stick around here stinking. I'm not about to be carried around here. And the crazy thing about it is, in order to keep the mythology around the NBA going, because we've already said this is the greatest we've had in the era, and he's a top 10 player, and LeBron's in the GOAT conversation and all this stuff. Like, you can't tell all these lies and then make it obvious they ain't really like that on their way out, and then change everybody's thought process about them, because you got another 20 or 30 years to push narratives about LeBron and Curry. You get what I'm saying? But now we're starting to see, all right, man, these dudes ain't really like that. So what as long as they're in the league, the media got to lie to us and tell us they like that. Think about all the lies they told us about the Warriors and the Lakers this year, and how much they talked about them on ESPN. Oh, now they got Luka. Now they can continue. Now they can beat Denver, or they can beat OKC or Minnesota and all this stuff. Same thing with the Warriors. I mean, they talked and talked and talked, and then the NBA had to cheat the Rockets. The Rockets was destroying the Golden State Warriors. Steven Adams and Alfred Sengun was destroying them on the rebounds. They was playing Draymond Green at center. That wasn't working. But the NBA allowed them to get away with so much that they was able to hang with the Rockets and then eventually put them out. And they shot themselves in the foot, because we could have been seeing a Rockets versus Minnesota second round playoff series. Instead, we got to see Ant-Man and Rudy Gobert destroy the Warriors, and Steph Curry not even make it out of game 1. Or was it game 2? He didn't make it out. Didn't make it out of game 2. But the media and Adam Silver will continue to prop up that dead career and pretend like it's still alive, and y'all falling for it. That is not a chinchilla. That's a chopped up gorilla that they chopped up to get you, and you bought it. That's what's going on. They fooling y'all. Listen to delusional Draymond Green.
Draymond, I know last night you said that like you still feel very good about the situation. What's your mindset about the team going into the offseason? Do you think some pretty big changes need to be made, or just think a little here and there, and that should be enough to get you back close to where you want to be?
I think the biggest change that needed to be made was we needed someone like Jimmy Butler, and we made that change. So I think the hardest part is done. It's harder to get guys like that through trade, through free agency. Just doesn't come up often. And so I think that part is done, and puts us in a much better situation going into this offseason than last year, where we're kind of looking for that, you know. And so that being said, we have to get better, you know, and we understand that. You know, we lost in the second round, regardless of what the circumstances were. We lost in the second round. So we need to improve. We've always spoke about there being 82 game players and 16 game players. At some point for us, we have to take a look at both, because, you know, ideally you don't want to be from February 8th on scrapping and clawing for every win that you could possibly get. That takes a toll after a while. You know, for us, we've kind of been in playoff mode for the last 3 months. It's not a highly effective way to win a championship. And so I think we all understand that from top to bottom in the organization, and we need to put ourselves in a better position to have a great year, not finish great.
This is delusion. First and foremost, this is just another way for Draymond, Steph, and Steve Kerr to trick the ownership and Golden State to continue to go on with this experiment of old dudes trying to go through the gauntlet of an 82 game season plus playoffs, and they cannot do it. Bob Myers did a wonderful job of drafting and picking up free agents and making trades to get the replacements in place for Iguodala, Draymond, and Clay. They replaced Clay's shooting with Jordan Poole, which was good, because anytime you can get someone's replacement in as a youngster to sit back and watch how they do things, develop within the system, and then fit in the system and be ready to take that role on. Jordan Poole was the perfect replacement for Klay Thompson. And you could retool around Steph Curry, where, okay, you got one old guy, but you kept the best old guy, right? And if you want to keep Klay and Dre, you have to keep them at a discount, right? If you think Dre and Klay as a staple, or as a locker room presence, or as a vet that you can utilize in limited minutes, like a Udonis Haslem when he was with Miami, or like a Sam Cassell or PJ Brown was on the championship Boston team, or like a James Posey with the Heat or the Boston team, or, I mean, you can go on with vets, or like a David West was for Golden State, or like a Iguodala was for Golden State. Like, you know, when Iguodala was the big vet, David West was the big vet, but they were bench players. They both went to their role on the bench. Iguodala still could be a starter, but he took that role. Sean Livingston, Like that was the perfect thing. And the young guys was Draymond, Clay, and Steph. Those were the young guys, and eventually KD. Those was the youngsters. And you had your old OGs on the bench, Sean Livingston, West, and Iguodala. What was supposed to happen, but this is the thing: West, Livingston, and Iguodala wasn't telling Golden State that we need all the money. So Draymond, Clay, and Steph got to make all the money as youngsters, and now that they're the OGs, and Bob Myers went and got Wiseman, Wiggins, Peyton, Moody, Poole. They went and got 5 young dudes that can position themselves right there around Steph, and then Clay and Draymond can take less money the same way that Iguodala, West, and Livingston did and still help the team. But instead, they got greedy and said, we want all the playing time. We want to be the starters, and we want to continue to get max contracts. They was thinking selfishly about themselves, and then they would get jealous when the young guys was about to get paid because Bob Myers was the GM, and he knew that he had to turn the page on the old guys and bring in the Pools and the Wisemans and the Moodys and the Kumingas. He did a fabulous job. I forgot about Kuminga. He did a fabulous job. Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman, Poole, Peyton, Wiggins. That's 6. He did a phenomenal job of bringing them in. And what was supposed to happen is Wiggins was supposed to get paid first. And I think Wiggins, probably Peyton after the championship, because Wiggins had a Wiggins and Poole was supposed to get paid, which eventually they did get money and Poole did get paid, and they let Peyton go. They couldn't pay Peyton, so they let him go. Right. So what happened, and what people are not going to admit, that punch to Jordan Poole was really all about the fact that everyone knew Jordan Poole was about to get that money because he performed too well in the playoffs. So did Wiggins. He performed too well. So guess what that meant? Draymond was not getting his money. They paid Poole, and they made and Bob Myers made that decision. So they was going to have to figure out something else for Draymond. So he was already hot about that. So the first thing Poole said to him was probably something that he already said to him 100 times before, but that day he wasn't having it because he already knew, and everybody in that locker room knew that Poole was about to get his money. So he knocked him out of jealousy. But not only knocked him out of jealousy, right? He was really literally fighting for his own life on that roster and fighting for his next paycheck. So when the locker room was divided, because Jordan Poole, Wiggins, and all the new guys, Jordan Poole, Wiggins, Gary Payton. Now Gary Payton was gone. Jordan Poole, Wiggins, even Loney, and I can't remember who Poole's best friend was on that team. It's slipping my mind, but they were really close, and it divided the locker room. And the same thing that Kevin Durant explained when Draymond Green, now mind you, that same year was a contract year for Draymond Green and KD when he called KD a bitch. So the same annoyance he had with Poole was the same one he had with KD. He was bothered because he knew they was about to pay the superstar KD, which means he wasn't going to get paid. He was going to have to take less or walk. So he was already hot at KD the whole time. And then KD was never telling anybody what his decision was the whole season. Draymond admitted that frustrated him because he was like, KD wasn't telling us what he was going to do. Nobody knew. And I can't even negotiate my contract until the Warriors know what they're going to do with him because I'm getting the money that's left over. So he couldn't even have moving on his contract waiting on KD, and KD wasn't letting nobody know nothing. He wasn't talking to nobody. So he was on one with KD, got pissed off, called him the B word, said, we won without you. We don't need you and all this stuff. And Kevin Durant, once he did an interview after that, said what really bothered him about that situation was not that you slipped up and called me out my name on national TV. That wasn't the big thing. The big thing was the aftermath where they thought that if we just suspend Draymond Green for a game, that fixes everything. Nobody, Bob Myers, and this is when you know you ain't got real leaders. The team owner, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, not one of them. Now, mind you, all of them dudes are in it together with Draymond. They was there. This man said, we don't need you. You a bitch. We won without you. You get what I'm saying? So when someone says that in front of everyone and everybody just look away like, shoot, you start to wonder, is that how all y'all think? And now one person came to KD and was like, look, man, I don't know what Draymond on. Nigga, hey, I don't think that. Draymond tripping. I'm gonna holler at him about that, man, because that's some fuck shit he said. We don't think that. That's what a real leader would do. They'll address it and tell you, hey, I'm sorry, dog. I don't know what Draymond talking about. I ain't never thought like that. You the one. And we want you to resign. As the team owner or the GM that really wanted to resign Kevin Durant, they should have went to Kevin Durant and said, hey, KD, we don't feel like that. As a matter of fact, we offering you the bag right now, whatever you want, and Draymond getting traded. We trading Draymond Green tomorrow if that's what you want. The only way we'll keep him on the roster if you say you cool with it. You ain't even really got to mean that. You do got to mean it just in case he say yeah. But if you come and say that to him, more than likely a person like Kevin Durant that's selfless would say, no, we on a championship run. I don't want him to be traded, man. We'll figure this out. But that tells me you got my back. And now I cannot be on, because Kevin Durant said he isolated himself after that. And he said what bothered him is nobody addressed it. Everyone act like it didn't happen. And they thought that the 1 game or 2 game suspension was enough. All right, we suspended him. He go come back and everything go be fine. And you see KD or you see Draymond and Klay and Steph over there laughing and he-heing, and they in their own little group. Right? And then Kevin Durant looking like, dang, they must all feel like that then. And nobody addressed it. Right? So that eventually ran Kevin Durant off, and then Draymond got his contract, and then the same thing happened with Poole. He knocked the dog piss out of him. They felt bad because the contract they was already going to give Poole, they ended up giving to him. But the locker room was so divided and so broken that they made the decision in the offseason to trade Poole. And then guess what happened when they traded Poole? They paid Draymond his money. So 2 times in a row, he was able to run someone off that was supposed to get paid. And as a result of running them off, he got paid. And they kept him. He keeps his life. He keeps extending his life with Golden State. But he's part of the biggest issue with Golden State. So they keep doing that. Bob Myers brought Wiseman in so they could start playing conventional basketball with a 7-footer, because when they won, they had a 7-footer in Andrew Bogut starting rim protector. Zaza Pachulia coming off the bench 1 year. They had a JaVale McGee. They had Looney 1 year starting. Every time they won, they had a 7-footer down there. Vestas Asili was coming off the bench behind Bogut. Like it was the real deal. 7-footers down there, right? But now they're playing Draymond at center. Right? So they're playing small ball because they need something for Draymond Green to do. And they playing him at center. Why? All the downfall about this team starts with Draymond. And they think it's the opposite.
Makes sense. I hope that don't come off as like, yeah, we want to finish great, obviously, but the year needs to be indicative of that to allow the finish to be what we want it to be. Having to play 3 months of playoff, I think ultimately took its toll. Over the course of the last
that's a fact, though, your boy.
Few weeks.
He's not max contract. What he does,
that'll be the focus.
What he does is what
very confident, very strong.
Ladonis Haslam was doing when he was still playing.
Another run or two at the ultimate
delusion.
prize.
Another run or two. How?
We definitely have to get better.
How do you view the future of the center spot for this organization, and how much it's going to be, you when it comes down to it, or how much you might need just more reinforcements at this stage of your career?
I am the center of the future. No, I'm just playing.
Nah, he means that.
I mean, you might be right.
Nah, he means that.
No, honestly, Listen, Loon has been here for 10 years, and he's been incredible.
All right, I can't hear no more. They're delusional, and they're going to trick the front office again because they went and got Jimmy Butler. And now they're saying, oh, nah, man, we got Jimmy Butler at the All-Star break. If we get an off-season and a training camp with him, then we'll be good. Dude, y'all about to let Kuminga walk behind this stuff. Y'all already lost Wiseman because y'all couldn't find a spot for him in the offense because Wiseman wanted to score points, and they don't want their big man to score points. They want all the shots to be taken by Curry and whoever the second scorer is, and then they want threes. That's their formula. So if you get an offensive rebound, they don't want you to go back up and dunk it. They want you to kick out and find Steph Curry for a three. Steph Curry will be 38 next year. You can't tell me the offense needs to revolve around Steph Curry and then tell me Steph Curry need help because y'all losing and he's exhausted out there. Wiseman would have been great help. Way more help than Looney. Same thing with Kuminga. They frustrated with Kuminga because he want to take shots. You know what pisses me off? This dude at the post game after they got put out by Minnesota, he said that Pajinski should have took more shots and we gonna have you taking more threes next year. He said that he only took, I think he said he only took 4 threes. He should have took 11. I seen 6 more threes he could have took. He should have took 11. So they want Pajinski to shoot lights out. But they got mad at Kuminga because he looked off Steph Curry one time and took a shot. So when he look at Pajinski, he sees someone that he wants to shoot lights out. But when he look at Kuminga, he sees somebody, no, you need to find Steph. And the same thing. I remember one time Buddy Hield looked off Steph and shot a 3, which I get it. But if I'm open for a 3 and Steph is open for a 3, I'm Buddy Hield. I done hit more threes than Steph in the last 5 years. I can shoot threes too, right? And Clay can take that shot. Clay was taking that shot. Clay wasn't always kicking it. If him and Steph is open, I can see Clay taking that shot. That's it. That's him. But when a newcomer come and do it, they feel like they got to call a timeout. Like Steph Curry was fussing at him. Draymond was fussing at him. Then they went to the sideline, and then Steve Kerr, with this fake leadership, go pull him over to the side and say, Buddy Hield, meet Steph Curry, the best three-point shooter of all time. Which was to say, if you see Steph Curry open, you swing the ball. I don't care if you open or not. Dude, you can't coach like that, bro. You can't tell people, listen, Buddy Hield can shoot 3, so I can understand if it was freaking Gary Payton, who's not a three-point shooter. Yeah, swing it. If it's Payton and you see Steph right there, swing it. But you want me to pass up open shots and I'm Buddy Hield to Steph, and then if we lose and I end up with only 12 points, well, dude, I passed up potential 10 points to swing it to Steph. It's unreal. It's just a horrible. The stuff that was working for them during the championships and stuff like that, they're not doing all of it no more. They're doing a portion of it and trying to tell newcomers that you have to play this way and you have to think like Kevon Looney and Draymond Green and pass up shots and just rebound and set screens for Steph and do all that stuff, man. That junk ain't working. And then when Steph got hurt, then what? Jimmy Butler couldn't even get the daggone motor started. And you got Draymond in the post game saying we can still make 2 more runs at it. Man, y'all done. Enough of this weekend at Bernie's movie, man. This weekend at Curry's. The dynasty is dead, man. It's over. The Golden State will be a fool to put more stock into this dime product that they're putting on the floor. It's time to move on from Draymond Green, and it's time for Steph Curry to cut the umbilical cord. He needs Draymond Green. He keeps sucking from Draymond Green's titty for milk. Go out there and do it on your own. That's my thought process. But I'm going to open the phone up because I want to hear from y'all. This weekend at Bernie's crap is killing me. Well, I ain't going to say killing me because the tongue. Life and death speed, it lies in the power of the tongue. So yeah, this junk is irking me. How about that? Yeah, DeMarcus Cousins too. David West was he couldn't get away with that stuff with David West in the locker room either. David West and DeMarcus Cousins for sure. You know what I mean? But yeah, Wiseman, Poole, Kuminga, Wiggins, all of them gone. All of them gone. But all right, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. If we're not getting phone calls on this one, there we go. What's good, Nino? What's your thoughts?
Man, you breaking down some stuff now.
What you think about it? Is
Man.
it over? Or it's been for me? It's been over for the since the last championship. It's been over since the punch. The punch killed it.
The dynasty over for sure, but do you think they can get one more?
How?
I don't know, but Kerry did get hurt. I gotta give him a pass. I don't think they were gonna win though, myself. But he did get hurt. If Kerry is there, do that change anything in this season?
But I think the bigger question is, does Curry get hurt again next year?
If he got to lighten the workload, I think.
He's a year older. Draymond's a year older. Jimmy Butler's a year older. Curry's 38 next year.
Kerry look like he's in better shape than Draymond, and Jimmy look a little out of shape. Not out of shape, but like for just healthy.
Yeah, 82 games to get yourself in position for a high playoff seed and home court advantage, plus make it through the playoffs. Are you putting your money on 38-year-old Curry in the West, or 24-year-old Ant Edwards and 25-year-old SGA, and whatever the Rockets go roll out, and whatever the Spurs go roll out, and whatever Dallas go roll out?
Ooh, the Spurs. I'm going with the youngsters.
Dallas.
I'm going with the youngsters. I think they got the same problem that Bron got. So I agree with you.
They done.
If they don't retire, they making too much money basketball-wise. See, that's where the business come in for the basketball.
Yep.
For the business, yeah, because they going to sell, like you said, they going to sell the jerseys. They going to have the stands packed.
Yep.
But from a basketball perspective,
it's a wrap, dog. They listen. They don't have the money to get the help that they claim that they need. They got Butler and they extended them. They ain't even gonna be able to afford to pay Kuminga, and he was your second best player all season, but you had him on the bench. So he's gonna walk.
What was that about, man? I don't know.
So the reason why they benched Kuminga is because this was his contract year, and he's a restricted free agent, which means they
can
match it. So what happened is when he turned down the contract offer, which was at about $30 million a year, and he wanted about 35 a year. So he turned down the $30 million a year. And what Golden State said is, well, we're not going to play you so other teams can see how well you perform, and they're going to offer you something that we can't match. Right? So they benched him just to hide him so other teams can forget about him and think
I heard they do that. I heard they do that.
And you don't know if they bench him for a reason. Like, is he a locker room issue? What is he not doing right? So it's more question marks. And then when your agent go to try to negotiate for big money, they can use that against you. And that helps out Golden State because now you're not going to get offered too much money and they can easily match it. They're hoping that he goes on the market and only thing he can get offered is about 25, which means that's less than the 30 they offered him. And all they got to do is match 25 and they get to save about 20 million, because 5 years of 4 years for 5 million, that's gonna be 20, right? That they get to save.
I think they blew it.
Since
you saying all this, I think they blew it.
But it backfired. It didn't work because God don't like ugly, and Steph went down, and you had to play him anyway, and he showed his behind.
And he balled. So
he showed his behind.
But and he's the only one that could create his shot besides Steph on the team. Draymond can't create no shot.
Correct. And
Well, Jimmy Butler can.
He the
he
only
can
athlete
create
that
a
can
shot.
run with the athletes that Minnesota had. These new young athletes, SGA and OKC got, and Minnesota got. Kuminga the only one who can run with him. He the only one who got size, speed, and athleticism to stick with these dudes. And he was out, and he was outrunning them. You see how easy some of the dunks he was getting. He dunked on Ant Edwards.
But do you think that? I got a question for you. Do you think that, like the Lakers and the Warriors, they still stuck on a certain style of basketball? Because Kuminga ain't just gonna pull threes. He get to that rack.
I don't know. I don't know what the Lakers style gonna be next year, because
I think the Lakers lost it. I think they blew it.
Yeah, they gonna be on some Luka Doncic craziness. Then that junk gonna look just like Dallas next year. Just with LeBron out there. As far as the Warriors, hey, they go live and die by that Steph stuff, and I'm thinking die is gonna be more probable than live, right? So they can get tricked by Draymond and Steve Kerr again if they want to. But if I'm them, Draymond is on the first thing smoking. I'm freeing up.
I don't know who.
I'm freeing up somebody dumb enough. I'm freeing up cap, man. Send him to Detroit back home. I'm freeing up cap space so I can sign Kuminga and change everything about that basketball team and that offense. I'm changing it. I'm getting a conventional center.
What's up, Mayor? Tell me 1-on-1. What is up? AD asked for a center. They traded him. They didn't want him. The Warriors don't want. They still want to play Draymond center. What is going on?
Small ball was a trend, and small ball was working. But the new trend is, if you look at the teams that's still in the playoffs, OKC runs.
They got a legit center.
They got not just one. They got a legit center and a legit power forward. They got Holmgren and Hartenstein starting, right? Then you got not OKC, but then you got Minnesota. They got a conventional center, Gobert, and a conventional power forward, Julius Randle. And then when you look at the Knicks, they got Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell. And then you look at the daggone Pacers, they got Turner and well, I mean, they're a little bit different in Indiana, but they start turning Siakam, but they come off the bench with Obi Toppin, so that gives them the two bigs. Everybody going back to two bigs now. I'm telling you, the NBA landscape is changing, and they're bringing defense back, which means you're going to need big men. All right, because these guards that relied on dribble drive and shooting threes, it ain't gonna be so easy to get them threes up when somebody hand checking you all the way up the court and your legs gone.
It's gonna be rough, man. That's crazy. That's crazy you said it, because I'm like, why did the Lakers? I understand the Warriors, because they stuck with Draymond. Draymond really can't play I don't think he can play the forward too much. He won't shoot it. But the Lakers, AD just wanted a center. You trade AD for Luka, and Luka don't play no D. Now you need a center.
Yep. That's funny how stuff works.
He can barely play D, but Luka don't play no D.
It's funny how stuff works.
Liability.
Funny how stuff works. And look, Houston also, Sengun and Adams was dominating too. So
they will dominate.
Yeah, the two bigs are back, baby, and basketball is coming back. I like it, man. But
you like that?
Huh?
I said you like that basketball, right?
Oh, bro, of course. But let me take one more phone call. Hey, know your boy. I see that you call back. Let me get know your boy.
Man.
All right, thanks, bro. Hey, know your boy, call back, man. What area code was you calling from, know your boy? Was it that New York area code? Man, the Thunder gonna be set, man. Thunder gonna be set for sure. Thunder gonna be set. No, your boy, I'm waiting on your call, big dog. I'm gonna get you in. If you're still out there. Now, you're right. Kuminga could end up in Miami. he could end up in New Orleans too. Joe Dumars might make that move. I can see that. I already know how Golden State operates, though. They think that loyalty supposed to help, and sometimes it do, because KD, when he decided to leave Golden State, and Brooklyn was the place he wanted to go, he could have went to Brooklyn and just signed with Brooklyn because he was a free agent. But Bob Myers went to him and asked him, okay, if you're going to leave, will you at least do a sign and trade with us so we can get something back? And so I guess he had the idea that, well, since Kyrie is coming over here with me, we don't need D'Angelo Russell. So he was like, yeah, I do a sign and trade. So he signed with Golden State and worked the trade out with Brooklyn, and that's how Brooklyn got D'Lo with KD going to Brooklyn. But if Kevin Durant really wanted to be selfish, he would have said, no, I'm not doing a sign and trade. I'm just going to go sign with Brooklyn, and then I'm going to tell Brooklyn to trade D'Lo so we can get something back. Like, think about how that worked out. Kevin Durant could have just went straight to Brooklyn, and since Kyrie was going there and they don't need D'Lo could have been packaged in the trade, and they could have got something to help them out. Instead, he did a sign and trade to help with the cap space for him and Kyrie to sign, and D'Lo came to Golden State. He did 1 year with Golden State while Curry was hurt and Clay was hurt. But when Curry and Clay came back, they didn't need D'Lo no more, so they traded him to Minnesota for Wiggins. And Wiggins and Poole is the one that helped Curry the most win that 2022 finals. Not Draymond, not Clay. Draymond was unplayable against Boston. All he did was tackle people in a game 3. That's all he did. He was almost a play. He got benched 2 or 3 times and was mad. They was playing Otto Porter Jr. over Draymond, and Otto Porter Jr. was balling. And guess who couldn't get re-signed after the playoffs? Otto Porter Jr. He was gone. They kept Draymond. Draymond was unplayable, but he getting money. I mean, it's just so weird, right? So Wiggins helped them so much, and they wouldn't even have Wiggins if it wasn't for KD agreeing to a signing trade. So that's what they're gonna do. If Kuminga decides to walk, and he's going to sign with someone that the Warriors know they can't match, and they probably won't be able to match it because they just traded for the $30 million that they offered Kuminga they offered him that before they traded for Butler. So now that they traded for Butler and gave him an extension, I doubt that $30 million is still available for Kuminga. So they probably gonna be asking him that. I mean, it's all jacked up. They're probably gonna lose Kuminga, but I can see them going and asking him, instead of you just leaving and walking over there, can you do a sign and trade with us? Can you help us with a sign and trade so we can get something back for you? And Kuminga's answer should be hell no. Take the example of Kevin Durant, because he helped them out get virtually Wiggins, and then Wiggins helped them win a championship, and they came out and started saying, see, told you we didn't need Kevin Durant. So don't help Golden State on the way out, Kuminga. Just go to your team and sign and wash your hands with these bums. But that's all I got, man. I appreciate y'all for joining the stream. Appreciate the super chat I got. Hit the like button on your way if you haven't hit it already. Thank you for all the comments and the phone calls and all that good stuff. And I'll catch y'all on the next stream. Peace.